We welcome you to Tampa, Florida, where Randy Edsall's UConn Huskies are set to begin Big East Conference play tonight against the USF Bulls. On this first Saturday in October, both these teams, UConn and USF, still have realistic bowl hopes, but both teams coming off losses, and both still have to play nationally ranked West Virginia and Louisville. Very pleasant good evening, everybody. Dave Weekley, happy to be alongside Doug Graber tonight. Doug, USF has lost their last two games by combined 8 points, but here in Tampa, everybody wants to talk about the fabulous freshman Matt Grothe, the total offense leader in the Big East.
He's really done it all. He's thrown the ball well. He's running the ball very well. 340 yards rushing. He's their leading rusher as well.
For Connecticut, they want to move the football on the ground if they can, and Terry Colley's off to a terrific start this season, averaging over 100 ground yards a game.
Well, they want to run the football, no question about it, and this senior leads them. He's averaging 5.8 per carry. He's having a great year.
Looking forward to a terrific Big East Conference football game. The students have really turned out tonight for this one at USF. We'll have more from Tampa in just a moment. Welcome back to Tampa. Big East football coming up. UConn set to take on the Bulls of USF. And Doug, when you take a look at this series, there's really not a lot of history here, only 3 previous meetings. Let's check our keys to the game, beginning with the Huskies of UConn.
Well, certainly for UConn defensively, they have to limit the big plays of South Florida. This is a big play offense. They've had 17 of over plus 25. Here you see Torres Johnson on a long touchdown pass. They better pound the rock, and they do it pretty well. They're averaging 242 yards a game rushing, 6th in the nation. They're going to have to keep doing that tonight. And I'll tell you one thing, they better cover their punts, because for South Florida, you've got number 80, Ian Randolph back here. He is averaging over 20 yards a return, 3rd in the NCAA, and he's had a couple called back too, so he's had some big numbers.
What about the keys tonight for the Bulls?
Well, they better stop the run, and they've done a good job. They're averaging 3.4 against, but the problem is UConn averages 5.6 per rush. Grothe, they got to keep him on the ground. He's their leading rusher. They've got 6 designed running plays for him. He's been very effective. And of course now, they've got to improve their punting game. Their punting game has been a disaster here. You see early in the season, they missed the football out of punt. They are only averaging 25 yards of net punting. They've been through 2 freshman punters.
All right, so our kickoff is coming next from Tampa, UConn and USF. It's the Big East opener for the Huskies. We'll return to Tampa in just a moment. Welcome to Tampa. Big East Conference football tonight. South Florida, USF, the Bulls hosting Connecticut. The Bulls won the toss. They have deferred and will kick off. Randy Edsall, now in his 8th season, has brought this program from 1AA into the 1A ranks and now into the Big East. Justin Tichy with the kickoff. This one will sail into the end zone. And UConn will start 1st and 10. And there is Jim Leavitt, a decade at the helm of the Bulls. And this is a program that he brought from infancy, Doug Graber.
Well, he really did. Both of these coaches have done a great job taking these programs from 1AA to 1A and into the Big East. Here we got a penalty.
Dead ball, personal foul, South Florida, number 22. Penalties offset, 1st and 10, Connecticut.
Well, penalties will be a big story in this game tonight, Doug. Connecticut is the least penalized team in the Big East, just 30 yards a game, while South Florida is the most penalized team in the Big East, 72 yards per game. Matt Bonoslawski is the quarterback, makes his 2nd start of the year tonight since taking over for DJ Hernandez last week against Navy. Randy Edsall told us this week when he broke down the tape of their loss to the Mids, he was happy with Bones' performance. He took care of the football, threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. First pass intended for the tailback, Colley, is incomplete at 2nd down and 10. Check our starting lineups. Tailback Terry Colley, 3rd in rushing in the Big East at almost 104 yards a game. Fullback Dion Anderson. And we'll see more of UConn's freshman receivers tonight, but Brandon Young, Brandon McLean, and Larry Taylor will start up front. BD Applebaum on the left side. Emmanuel Hutchison may be the best of the bunch. And here we go with Colley. It's a race. Colley dragged down from behind, but not before he reaches the Bulls' 25-yard line. And there is a flag down back at the UConn 26.
Boy, what a huge, huge break this would be for South Florida if there's a holding penalty back here, because he just busted clean.
Legal block in the back on Connecticut. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the infraction. Replay second down.
So bring it all the way back.
Wow.
Gerald McGinn is our referee tonight on this Big East crew.
That got Coach Etzel out on the field in a hurry.
So take that big play off the board for UConn.
I will guarantee you that was the wide receiver cracking on the linebacker there, and that's probably the block that broke it. But of course, Coach Etzel's not going to quite agree with that.
Second down now, 2nd and 15. The line of scrimmage is the 16-yard line. Bronislawski under center this time, out of the eye. Play action for Colley. Once again, a flag is down. He is going long. And the pass is nearly intercepted, and a flag comes down.
That could be offensive or defensive interference. That could go either way. There was a lot of bumping going on the field on that one.
Mike Jenkins had the coverage.
2 penalties to sort out here, Dave.
The penalties were a big story last week for Connecticut and Navy. Navy, one of the least penalized teams.
Offsides on the defense, number 85. Penalties declined. Pass interference on the defense, number 4. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
You know, take a look at it right here. He's got his left hand. He's got his left hand out there, but right there, that could have very easily been called against the offense. You know, they got to let him play football, in my opinion, at some point. You know, that was that really didn't hurt the play at all, I didn't think.
First down now at the 31-yard line. The pass was intended for Brad Conyu, who had 2 long catches last week, his first 2 catches of the year for Connecticut. Bronislawski from the gun this time on first down. And they set up the screen. Pass is caught by Donald Brown. And Brown will lose a yard. Here's a look at the defense. Jared Bowie, Alan Cray, and Woody George inside with George Selvey. Cray and Selvey in amongst the top 5 sack specialists in the Big East. Great linebackers, Nicholas, Moffitt, and St. Louis. In the secondary, Trey Williams, second in the nation with 5 interceptions. 2nd and 11. And for the second consecutive week, USF is decked out in their all-green uniforms. They wore these uniforms in their heartbreaking loss last time out to Rutgers here in Tampa. Here's Colley. Colley picks his way down near the 34-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and long.
You know, and that's a bit of a surprise for Connecticut to come out with 3 wide receivers and 2 backs in the backfield. I don't. They had not really shown that formation coming into this game.
You see Colley's numbers. He's having an outstanding year.
And the reason they're doing that, Dave, is that they're trying to keep Rutgers from getting that 8th defender in the box here.
On 3rd and 7, Bronislawski. And this pass is knocked down.
That was Chris Robinson.
Robinson has really been a factor deflecting footballs all season long. And so Connecticut, in a series that featured plenty of penalties on both teams, will have to punt.
That's kind of funny because we talked about, you know, UConn is the least penalized team. In the first play of the game, they get a penalty. They had 2 penalties in that series.
Chris Pavisaris in to punt the football. Ian Randolph, leading punt returner. The Big East, and the punt is blocked. Big play on special teams. The Bulls have it in the red zone for their first possession. They'll start 1st and 10 from the UConn 16.
I think it was Jerome Murphy, number 3, I think. I'm not positive, but boy, he came scot-free from the right side of UConn's punt team. And, I mean, that wasn't even close. He almost got there when the ball got there. Take a look at it right here. You see it, he comes right off the corner right there. Oh, he splits it inside, and that was Murphy, young man from Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I'll tell you, and South Florida has been tremendous blocking punts down through Jim Leavitt's tenure here.
So Grothe under center, option, 15, 10, heading for the end zone. Touchdown USF.
Wow. Boy, that didn't take long, did it? That was just a sprint option, and Grothe made the right read. They took away the pitch. They blocked the guy that was assigned to take him, and he knew exactly what to do with it. Amazing, amazing start for this young redshirt freshman from right down the road in Lakeland, Florida.
So Grothe takes it 16 yards for the touchdown. And Mike Benzer on to add the extra point.
And this has been an adventure for South Florida as well this year.
Benzer fires it up and in. Now 15 of 15 on the point after attempts. Matt Grothe already making his impact felt on this game tonight. USF 7, UConn nothing. Some early fireworks here in Tampa. Matt Grothe, his 5th career rushing touchdown from 16 yards out on the first play following a blocked punt. First punt to be blocked against UConn all season long, and now the Bulls will kick off to the Huskies once again. Teachy's first kickoff went deep into the end zone, and so will this one. Larry Taylor won't get an opportunity to bring it out.
You know, and that's really been the history of this program with Jim Leavitt. Take a look at it here. They're going to block the guy that has the quarterback. That's called a loaded sprint option, and boy, they executed it perfectly, and Matt Grothe certainly knew exactly what to do with the football right there.
Well, this is deja vu in a lot of ways for UConn fans. Last week against Navy, the Mids scored on their first offensive play. Same thing tonight here in Tampa on the road. So the Huskies already behind 7-0.
This is an audible.
Bonoslawski, 5th-year senior from Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania, under center and a power I on first down. It's Colley. Colley is brought down by Ben Moffitt, the leading tackler for the USF Bulls.
Boy, and these 3 linebackers for USF, I'll tell you what, they are really, really something. I mean, these kids, every one of them would be a starter just about any place in the country. Take a look at it here now. We're going to come back on at the next play, but it's fun to watch these linebackers flow and get to the football.
Colley picks up 4. It's 2nd down and 6. Again, they'll go from the I. Dion Anderson at the fullback spot. Bonoslawski to pass. Protection is nearly intercepted. Jeremy Burnett nearly had the interception.
Now take a look at this defense now on the play before, and just watch these linebackers. Watch Moffitt at the middle backer get to the football right here. And I'll tell you, this fullback for UConn, Anderson, is something too. Boy, it's a great job by Burnett of playing the football, and tremendous. He's a transfer from Purdue, 6'1", 190-pound senior.
Jarrett Bowie comes back into the lineup for the Bulls on 3rd and 6. Here's a screen pass, incomplete. Bonoslawski did a great job drawing the attention of the defensive line for the Huskies, but his pass was too tall for Colley, who's only 5'7".
And it looks like obviously USF has UConn on the heels a little bit. They lost their poise a little bit. They had that terrible the penalty on the first long run, and they haven't really recovered.
Pavasaris into kick. Good pressure again. Wow. This one to Randolph. He'll take it on the fly at the 40-yard line.
Look out.
Spinning up to the 46, 6-yard return. And outstanding field position for the 2nd possession for USF. It's hot in Tampa. USF's got the early lead on the Huskies, 7-0. After a 36-yard punt by Chris Pavasaris, USF will start this drive from their own 46-yard line. There's Matt Grothe, the quarterback. 4 wide receivers, trips to the right this time. Williams is a wing for Grothe. Bubble screen to Randolph. Makes the first defender miss. Takes it out to the 49-yard line for a gain of 3. Let's check our starting lineups for the Bulls. In the backfield, Benjamin Williams, the walk-on, will start at the tailback spot. Edwards, Randolph, Green, and the tight end is Bleakley. They can all get down the field. Offensive line shaken up a little bit. Watson and Hooners on the left side. Schmidt moves over to the right guard spot tonight, and that puts Walter Walker at the right tackle. Benjamin Williams at the tailback spot. Probably didn't anticipate he would be starting at this point of his career. Takes the football and carries it into UConn territory down to the 44-yard line.
Tackle by number 43, Ryan Hennigan.
Connecticut up front in the 4-3. Dan Davis and Coral Springs native Cody Brown at the ends. Inside a pair of fifth-year seniors, Ray Blockman and Rama Fuller. At linebacker, Tampa's Dante Moore's on the strong side. He's playing with a broken arm tonight. Danny Lansan is third in the Big East in tackles. And in the secondary, Darius Butler already has 2 interceptions. Grothy, all kinds of time. Delivers the pass. It's complete inside the 20. Down near the 15-yard line, and that's S.J. Green.
Well, and now you can see with that play why everybody here in Tampa and South Florida fans are so excited about Grothy. I mean, he showed great poise back there, Dave, on that. Take a look at it. Great poise, and look at the accuracy. Waits for him to come open, puts it right on the money. And, you know, he's just a football player. I mean, he was a 2-time All-Stater in high school. He can run it. He can throw it. He has really been impressive.
31-yard gain, 4 wide, trips to the top of your screen. Here's Grothy with the handoff to Williams. All the way to the end zone, virtually untouched. 13 yards on the touchdown run for Benjamin Williams.
Well, that was an audible by Grothy, and this is where he is really beginning to grow into this program. This is his fourth start. Take a look at it right here. This is just a quick little trap up inside, and it just busts wide open. And really, the secondary had no chance on that one.
USF extremely red hot on offense to start this game tonight here at home in Tampa. Extra point try for Mike Benzer. The sophomore is up and good. Williams, a 13-yard touchdown run. 6 minutes in, the Bulls with a 14-point lead on visiting UConn. Randy Edsall and the Huskies of UConn. And this is not a replay of last week's game, but this is virtually the same thing that happened to Connecticut. They were down early, 14-0 to Navy before losing 41-17. Jim Levitt and company have really jumped out early, Doug Graber, with a quick lead.
Well, you talk about coming out of the box, man. They came smoking out of the box in this football game. I think they have a long memory. They remember that 15-10 loss up there in Connecticut last year.
Tichy with another long kickoff that is through the end zone. Taylor can watch it sail away. And you can see on the sidelines for the Bulls just a second ago, Benjamin Williams telling all of his teammates about his first ever touchdown run.
How about that? You know, and really he is the third running back now. Unfortunately, Ricky Ponton, their starting running back, was suspended for the first 6 games. He comes back next week. And then, of course, their outstanding freshman running back, Plancher, went down with an ACL in the second series of the opening game of the season. So you're down to all walk-ons at running back.
Moses Plancher really stood out in fall camp. He had the #1 job and barely played it all in the opener against McNeese State. Bonaslawski on the keeper. Slides down near the 24-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 6. And if you're Randy Edsall right now, what are you telling your team?
Well, the biggest thing is you just got to calm down. I mean, it's obvious that you know, your team is on your heels. They've lost their poise a little bit. You just got to slow the game down, just kind of calm down a little bit. You can't get out of your style. Your style, you're a running football team. It's way early in the game. You've got to run. You've got to pound the rock, just like we talked about in the pregame.
Colley's the tailback. Bonaslawski back to pass on 2nd down. Hit as he throws, and that pass nearly intercepted by Moffitt. Ben Moffitt couldn't hold it up near the 35-yard line.
Boy, and Moffitt, what a heck of a linebacker. This is all the pressure right here that causes this. Look, I mean, look. Wow, I mean, Bonoslawski didn't have much of a chance right there.
Let's make some noise for that post defense.
Oh, UConn could definitely use a first down. But here they're facing 3rd and long again. 3rd down and 7.
That was Woody George that applied the pressure on the last one.
Bonoslawski. Throwback out of the shotgun.
Oh, they got to play here.
Some room to run. Brown. And Donald Brown takes it out near the first down marker. It is a first down at the 33. Well-designed play.
But they caught, USF in a blitz here. They executed it well. And if he gets the one, if he beats the linebacker right there, he is off to the races. They really had that set up beautifully.
Much needed first down. And a little stability right now for UConn. From the 33. Fumbled snap.
And a flag in late. Don't understand the flag. That was a, it looked like Deion Anderson was Johnny on the spot there because that ball was loose.
Recovered by UConn.
No, they picked up the flag.
Yep.
Yes.
Second down and 12.
Boy, looking at the tape yesterday, Dave, Deion Anderson, the fullback, I was so impressed with him. What a great blocker. He's 5'11", 236 senior from Providence, Rhode Island. But, man, I'll tell you what, I'd love to be a tailback running behind him.
He's a tremendous blocker, but he's also a terrific pass receiver as well. 2nd down and 12 out of the gun. Good protection this time for Bonoslawski. Going to send this one down the field long. Incomplete.
That was Ryan Gilliam. He was in perfect position to play that. Timed it beautifully, got his head back to the football. The corners here are coached by Rich Rachel, my longtime assistant at Rutgers, and I got to tell you, man, they're well coached. He'll pay me for that later.
Brad Cunyu again was the intended receiver. As UConn tried to go long, 3rd and 12. Connecticut did not pick up a 3rd and 10 or longer for the first time this season until the first half of last week's game against Navy. And Bonoslawski threw a touchdown pass to Colley. Pass is tipped. Incomplete.
Boy, that was Stephen Nicholas that got his hands on that one. These linebackers are so active. You know, and Dave, I think when you come down here to play USF, the speed of this football team can definitely be a little shock to your system. This is a 4-man rush, well protected, but boy, look at Nicholas, read that and get back into it. He's got a chance to really be a high draft choice this coming spring.
Steve Browse, the tight end, was the intended receiver. We do anticipate we'll see Dan Murray, who's missed most of the season with an ankle problem. He played briefly last week against Navy. And look at this punt by Pavasaris. Wow. And it goes into the end zone. Nothing like a 69-yard punt and no return.
Well, that was a low driver, and really Randolph did not have much of a chance at all. That ball was over his head almost before he started. Great punt. Boy, and I'll tell you, South Florida's lucky there. That ball took a nice hop right at the end. They just couldn't quite get it covered there. That would have been really something had he downed it on the 1-yard line.
Yeah, Tyvon Branch nearly dropped that one at the 1. So the Bulls have scored touchdowns on both of their possessions. Grothy 2 for 2, already with a rushing touchdown tonight. 4 wide on first down. And this time, the middle of the UConn line is waiting for Benjamin Williams.
And that's definitely the plan for USF coming into this game. There's going to be a lot of 4 wide receiver sets. Spread them out all over the field and try to use that speed.
Grothy looks to the sidelines for the call. Being flashed in by Carl Franks on the sidelines. That was a good tackle by Cody Brown for UConn. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Williams is a wing as Grothy operates from the gun with 3 wide. Grothy steps up, pass is caught. Up to the 24-yard line. Colby Erskine. Colby Erskine into the game for the first time.
Great tackle by him. I mean, they really, he only got about 4 yards on that play. That was a terrific tackle by Erskine.
Tarius Johnson checks into the lineup for USF. They'll go with 4 wide. And now Williams splits out wide. Empty backfield for Grothe, who operates from the gun. Quick shot. Williams. That's Tarius Johnson. Johnson's got the first down. Breaks through one tackler, takes it all the way out to the 45-yard line for a 21-yard gainer.
I'll tell you what it does. When you spread people out like this, it forces the defense to play a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they caught him in man right here. And again, that was just that little rocket screen. And I'll tell you, all these wide receivers and all these skilled players for USF, they one thing in common. They can run. They can really run.
Replay 3rd down.
Well, that big play is going to come off the board. Bulls had an illegal player down the field. Tarius Johnson had a big catch for the Bulls last week against Rutgers. But that catch on and making an apparent 3rd down conversion goes off the board.
Both teams now have had a big play called back, and here you see the officials huddling. And, you know, that was a screen. If that's caught, behind the line, I mean, you know, you're allowed to go downfield. So obviously there's a little bit of confusion right here on the officials' part. That was, you saw Jim Levitt talking to Carl Franks on the sideline. That was the whole conjecture of what happened there.
Well, they have not moved the football, but the discussion of the play continues. By the way, for USF, Cedric Hill has checked into the lineup. Jim Levitt told us this week he's going to play more tonight.
Yep. Well, this is really interesting here. I thought they might pick up the flag. They're not going to do that. There's a lot of conjecture as to what the down is. I mean, there's a lot of discussion going on here. I'll tell you what, when they're talking to the young man holding the down marker, they may pick up the flag on this to see where the original line of scrimmage was. This is interesting.
Well, if this is indeed 3rd down again,
right.
This is a big play for UConn defensively. A hold here, and they get good field position. They already trail 14-0, 10 minutes in.
Previous play is under review.
I couldn't hear what he said. I think the conjecture here is what is it 1st down? They've got it marked as 1st down, but that can't be. Now it's 2nd down.
The call was illegal player downfield.
The whole question there is, was the ball thrown behind the line of scrimmage or not? There was a lineman downfield. I couldn't catch his numbers, either the right guard or the center, that did make the block. Let's see if we can figure this out, or take a look at the line of scrimmage. That is the right guard that's downfield. Is the ball behind the line of scrimmage? It looks like it is to me.
It looked like he caught that ball behind the line.
Yeah, I think he certainly did. So now the question is, honestly, I think the official blew the call, and it happens. They make mistakes. They're just like everybody else. But
well, we continue to be in an official timeout, and the discussion is taking place on the USF sideline at around the 15-yard line.
Yeah, they have not gone to the replay booth. In fact, that is not a review. I don't think that's a reviewable play in terms of illegal lineman downfield. This has taken a long time to sort this one out.
Plays that are not reviewable include illegal formations.
Let's take a look at it again. Was he behind the line of scrimmage when he caught the football here? Now, there's no question he's behind the line of scrimmage, so I mean, that should not be penalty. I think the call certainly was on Ryan Schmidt,
Doug,
the right guard.
Doug, I believe they are in a replay situation. And here's the call.
The call stands as called on the field. 3rd down with an eligible receiver downfield, number 71. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot.
That was Matt Huners, the left guard.
So the play was, in fact, under review, and now we're ready for play. 3rd down and 12. 5 wide, empty backfield, trips to the bottom of your screen. Here's Grothe. Protection is good. Pass is caught up near the 30-yard line. Amari Jackson's first catch of the game, but it's going to be short of the 1st down.
Yep, sure is, and that's a mistake. You know, he was running the in route. He needed 2 more yards, and as a wide receiver, you have to understand exactly what you need. That ball was thrown right on the money. Take a look at it right here again. Grothe, well, watch his technique. Steps right into it, quick release. Ball thrown right on the money, low where only he can come up with it. Now, take a look. We're going to see this rugby punt now. This is really interesting. This has just happened now in the last couple of weeks. They had such problems. This is the Justin Tichy, who is really the kicker, the kickoff guy, who has been pressed into service and doing the rugby punt. We got a flag.
And Tichy will use the rugby-style kick, and when we talked to Randy Edsall this
Dead
week.
ball. Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Seeing right off the bat, Dave, that's Tichy's fault, because you got to be looking at that clock, and I'm sure that's something he's not used to doing. I mean, he didn't plan on being a punter when he came here. You know, he's been pressed into service because they're 2 young freshman punters. Boy, they just struggled mightily in the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah, Tichy is the 4th member of the Bulls to punt this season. Randy Edsall told us earlier this week that they saw a lot of the rugby-style punting last year against West Virginia. Taylor will pick it up at the 24-yard line, and he has got some room. A good return by Taylor up to the 44-yard line.
Of course, and that's the whole issue with the rugby punt, is you hit it low and the ball bounces and rolls and everything else, but there's no hang time. They're difficult to cover. Take a look at it here. This is the rugby-style kick now that some teams are using, and it's just. And of course, this ball is likely to go any place, but here's the problem. It's tough to cover because there's no hang time.
Ball on the 44-yard line.
So the punting problems for USF continue.
Taylor averaging 12 yards on a punt return. That one covered 19. Here's Colley to the short side. And Colley read those blocks on the right side well.
Another flag. I think this was a procedure. The wide receiver very easily could have been moving to the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped. We'll wait and get this call. But this is very, very not typical of UConn with these penalties.
Still 1st down.
Okay, that one's against the defense. So now that's not unusual for South Florida. They have been every year right up there and amongst the nation's leaders in penalties.
UConn last week had their first defensive penalty of the year. They've been playing very disciplined football in terms of penalties so far this season. 1st down and 5. The line of scrimmage is the 49. To the bottom of the screen. Huskies operating out of the eye. Bonoslawski, no play action with the pass. It's caught in Bulls territory inside the 30. Fighting for yards down to the 22-yard line. And so they're able to get the football. The freshman, Terrence Jeffers.
Take a look at this now. This is a timed comeback route. They're pressed up in the coverage, and look at him turn, and the ball's right there. That is an NFL executed comeback route right there against the press. Really, really well done.
That's the biggest play of the career of freshman Terrence Jeffers. Had only 1 catch for 2 yards against Wake Forest coming in. Bonoslawski inside the 10, incomplete. For Pale with the heavy hit. And Bonaslawski was hit as he released the football as well.
Danny Verpail, an interesting story. Of course, his brother played at South Florida, was also a safety, a good one. Danny Verpail, just a sophomore out of Merritt Island, Florida.
Well, late hit on the quarterback is going to cost USF 15, half the distance to the goal. So the line of scrimmage is now the 14-yard line.
Well, this is not unusual for South Florida. I'll tell you what, they get more penalties, and somehow they find a way to overcome them. But this one now, they put themselves really, really deeply in a hole here.
South Florida already 39 yards in penalties. UConn penalized once for 10 yards. And now the Huskies are in the red zone. Last week against Navy in the red zone, they were 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns. Here's Colley trying to pick his way forward, tries the right side for maybe a yard.
Number 51, Stephen Nicholas.
Well, Nicholas is really something. 6'3", 225. I had a nice visit with him yesterday. His dad is a minister. He has 6 brothers. He said his first coach was his dad. I said, how'd that go? He said, my dad was really hard on me. He said, just about the way Coach Levitt and Coach Burnham are here at South Florida.
His dad helped turn him into a good football player.
Yes, he did.
Second down and 9. Connecticut and USF are at the bottom of the Big East standings when it comes to red zone efficiency.
Well, there's another penalty on USF jumping the snap. They're so young up front. In fact, this is just a young football team. They only have really 6 seniors that are starting.
Offsides on the defense. Number 95. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
George Selvey.
Yep. And really, of those seniors starting, 3 of those are walk-ons. So this is really a really young football team that Jim Levitt has here. And I'll tell you, he is really excited about the future of this team. And this is a huge game for them.
Second down and 4. Colley. And he just has absolutely nowhere to go. Patrick St. Louis, number 54, led the way. Moffitt was also there to help clean it up.
You know, I love coaching football. Take a look at, watch Patrick St. Louis here, number 54, come off this block. And that's Moffitt and St. Louis, 2 of those linebackers. I love the nicknames they have for each other. Of course, Patrick St. Louis is Bullethead. That's my favorite. Stephen Nicholas, they call him Snake. Ben Moffitt, his father Ben, he's married and has 2 young babies.
Big third down. Third down and 4 from the 9. Bonaslawski with the fake. He's going to run for it, and he's going to be short. Stephen Nicholas bumped him out of bounds, short of the marker.
Boy, he made up a lot of ground fast to get there, and it's, of course, going to bring up 4th down. You see Nicholas making the call to the sideline. Watch the speed here. Just watch the explosive speed there by Nicholas.
Matt Nuzzi is on to attempt a field goal. This will be a 24-yard attempt. He's 2 of 4 this year. He hit a 39-yarder against Navy last week. It'll come from the right hash. Snap is good. He missed it. Pushed it to the right.
Wow. Both of these teams have had their problems in field goals and kicking the football. That's amazing. That now makes him 2 out of 5. And of course, Benzler for South Florida is 1 out of 4. So both teams struggling in the kicking game a little bit.
Well, so the red zone percentage for UConn drops a little bit lower. Now they are 8 of 13 in red zone offense. Produced 8 touchdowns, but they misfire on a 24-yard field goal attempt. USF, the defense holds, and the Bulls offense will have the ball at the 20-yard line.
And USF has been pretty good in the red zone. 13 times in the red zone and only 4 touchdowns.
USF has 39 penalty yards. Connecticut has only 55 offensive yards. Here's Grothe on a designed run.
Oh, he fumbled.
Lost the football. And the ruling is going to be that Grothe was already down before the ball came out.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good call. I saw it come out early, but we're going to see right here. You make the call.
Gain of 2 on the play.
Let's see if he's down. Yep, he's down on the ground. That's a good call.
Second down and 8, inside of a minute to play in our opening quarter. And we have had plenty of fireworks tonight.
It's been wild. 4 wideouts.
Williams is a wing to the left for Grothe. It's another designed run for the freshman quarterback. And he takes it up near the 29-yard line. That is shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and a yard.
You know, he just got great vision. He really sees the field well, and I think that's his strongest attribute. And it's something, frankly, that you can't teach as a coach. Some guys have it, some guys don't. He's got it. You know, and he runs well. I mean, he's about a 4.6 guy. He's not 4.4 or anything like that, but he certainly runs well enough.
Oh, Grothe will come to the sidelines. The redshirt freshman, content to let the time expire here in the opening quarter. 15 minutes in the books. South Florida, the Bulls score on their opening 2 possessions, and they head to the second quarter with a 14-0 lead on visiting UConn. Beautiful night for college football here in Tampa, Florida at Raymond James Stadium. We start the second quarter on 3rd down and 1. Grothe will keep it off the right side, and I think his momentum will give him the first down. He just had to cross the 30, and Doug, I think he did.
Yeah, and he's hurt.
Grothe's hurt.
And I'll tell you, he got hit right, it looked like in the head, and this is my one concern. Boy, and he's in some pain right there. That is not good at all for South Florida. Wow.
Grothe throwing the football 4 for 4, 49 yards, and rushing 4 carries for 26 yards, but now a hush has come over this stadium. Matt Grothe, statistically the best freshman quarterback in the nation, getting medical attention at the 30-yard line. And Pat Julmis, the senior who started the opening game against McNeese, would be under center if Grothe cannot continue.
And of course, can't see exactly with looking at the right leg here, some right ankle it looks like.
Grothe getting attention on the ankle. We'll be back to Tampa in a moment. USF, the Bulls leading UConn 14-0 moments ago. Matt Grothe injured on this carry.
I believe he's got a high right ankle sprain is what it looks like to me.
Pat Julmis has come in at quarterback. He's a senior, got good size, 6'3", 220. His brother Josh is a defensive lineman who's sitting out a suspension. He'll return next week against North Carolina. Julmis to pass. And he throws that ball out of bounds.
Late flag. Don't know if it's a hold or a late hit.
And this will go against the Bulls.
And this really has been, Pat Julmis is a veteran player.
Holding on the offense. Number 69. 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Replay, first down.
He's really been a 2-year starter, but that has been the issue right there, has been decision making, and that has really been his problem. And again, you know, he couldn't make the snap decision that you have to make as a quarterback, and that's why he held the football, and then of course had to throw it out. And then of course that led to the holding penalty. That has been the issue.
Nick Capona, the center, called on the holding penalty. So now it's first down and 20 to go. And the handoff goes to Williams, and he has absolutely nowhere to go. Danny Lansana came up from his middle linebacking position to make the stop.
There's a lot of grappling going on out there between the offensive line and the defensive lineman. Well, you know, Pat Julmis is big, 6'3", 225, strong. He's got a strong arm. He runs fairly well. Just got to make better and quicker decisions.
3 wide receivers to the top of the screen, and they go that way. Taurus Johnson on the reception, and he'll take it up near the 28-yard line.
Now it's going to set up a third and very, very long.
I want to welcome our viewers watching on Sportsnet New York, just joining us a few moments ago.
3rd down and 12.
Those of you watching on Sportsnet New York missed some of the early fireworks as USF scored quickly, blocking a punt. Matt Grothe, 16-yard run, and then on the next possession, Benjamin Williams went 13 yards, 14-0 in the first 6 minutes. That's where we stand now. Here's Jewel Miss. Made the first man miss. Ball's loose. And the ball came out. It's going to be ruled. The ball came out after Jewel Miss was upended at the 36-yard line, and the Bulls will have to punt.
Yeah, the ground, of course, can't cause a fumble. He landed right on the ball on the ground, so obviously there cannot be a fumble. But here we go with punting again. And the rugby style, this is exciting. You never know exactly for sure what's going to happen here. And again, this is an emergency measure from just a couple of weeks ago. Justin Teachy now. He's right. He can kick left-footed too, but he goes to the right. There's the line drive, bouncing down the field.
That ball is loose. Boy, scary moments for UConn. The Huskies keep possession at the 20-yard line. But, you know, this rugby-style kicking is really taking Larry Taylor out of his game.
Well, it is. And I'll tell you, and it's really been a savior for South Florida. Take a look at it right here. Boom. End over end, and this thing is bouncing crazy. Oh, that almost hit the blocker right there. That was close.
Nearly hit Terry Baltimore. 1st and 10 for the Huskies at the 25-yard line. First carry on this series for Colley, and Colley takes it out to the 30-yard line. We anticipate that we're going to see, in addition to Colley, Donald Brown and Lou Allen carrying the football. And Coach, I think he called it right. They're working on that right ankle.
They're working, and they're going to retape the right ankle. And that's a real good sign for South Florida. Now, of course, you could be taping it to keep the swelling down, or to possibly get him back in and play.
Well, Grothe out of the game is definitely good news for UConn. Bonoslawski sacked back to the 20-yard line. Stephen Nicholas.
Boy, he is something else. I'll tell you what now, he is a rare combination of size, speed, and intelligence. Of course, this is a blitz here, obviously. And watch out, he just takes the guard and throws him right back into Bonoslawski. He is something else, boy.
5th-year senior from Jacksonville, Lee High School, All-American candidate on the Butkus watch list. By the way, that list will be cut to 10.
Personal foul on the defense, number 4, hands to the face, 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage, automatic, first down.
Well, the beat goes on for South Florida, doesn't it? It's incredible, the amount of penalties. Incredible.
Well, that's Grant Gregory getting loose. Grant Gregory is the son. He's the son of one of the assistants for USF, Greg Gregory.
Greg, of course, longtime coach in Army. Transfer from Indiana, Grant Gregory.
Played his high school ball in Athens, Ohio, while his dad was the offensive coordinator of the Bobcats in the American Conference. 1st and 10 at the 45 following the penalty. Colley into the secondary, breaks one tackle. That's tough yards all the way to the 40-yard line. Lost a shoe, but didn't lose sight of the fact that he picked up the first down. That's a 15-yard gainer.
Take a look at it right here. This is just the inside zone trap. Very well executed. There goes the shoe. But I tell you that, you know, the whole momentum of this game has changed, in my opinion, with the injury to Grothe. Yeah. No question about it.
Allen has checked in at the tailback spot. There's the pass. Complete. Brandon Young on the reception. And he takes it down to the 25-yard line. That's 15 more.
Boy, and that's a mistake by the freshman, corner redshirt freshman, Jerome Murphy out there. You know, you have to be able to read the quarterback, and he just gave him too much room. And now you got to make a great open field tackle. Of course, he wasn't able to do it. So, you know what? He came out of the game after that play.
Well, the plot would really thicken if UConn could get in on this drive. St. Louis holding Anderson. First carry of the night for Big Dion.
Yeah, and penalties have really, really been a factor for South Florida. I mean, obviously they have a 14-0 lead, but they've had 2 drives now by UConn that's been fueled totally by penalties, really.
Anderson comes out of the lineup. He caught a 4-yard touchdown pass last week against Navy. 2nd down and 6 from the 22. Bonaslawski, short drop. Pass is caught. That's Taylor. He's got the first down at the 15-yard line.
You know, this is the first time I've seen Connecticut play this year, and Larry Taylor, the junior receiver, jumps out at me right away. He's very, very smooth. And this is good timing on this throw by Bonaslawski. Let's take a look at it right here. Ball thrown with excellent time. Very, very smooth, Taylor. Very impressive. Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Second trip into the red zone tonight for Randy Edsall's offense. Matt Newsy missed a 24-yard field goal in the first quarter. UConn still looking for their first points. Whistles blow the play dead.
First charge time out of the half.
So Wally Burnham and the defense of USF need a little time to think this over as they blow their
you can see Wally
for the first time out.
I think Wally not too pleased with that alignment. They were misaligned, but recognized it. Of course, got the timeout called. Wally Burnham, veteran defensive coordinator, longtime Florida State assistant, has done a tremendous job with this defense here at USF. Assistant head coach as well. There you see Nicholas, and that's the backup linebacker, Bruce Montpremier, in there for Moffitt. They really think he has earned some playing time right now. A young guy out of Miami Edison High School, 225-pound sophomore. Boy, there's Nicholas. And I really had a good time, enjoyed talking to him yesterday. He loves to play football. He's got his degree in communications already. He knows exactly where he's headed. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's really become a leader here. Look at him out there, getting the guys pumped up. Come on, let's get lined up right. Let's play.
You know, Stephen Nicholas, last week against Rutgers, banged his right shoulder and had to come out of the game for a while. Got back in there, blocked a field goal attempt late in the game by Jeremy Ito of the Scarlet Knights. He's 100% supposedly tonight, and he really is an emotional leader of that defense.
No question.
First down at the 15-yard line of USF for the Connecticut Huskies, trailing 14-0.
Now UConn having some difficulty getting lined up.
Odd after that timeout call by USF.
And there was movement there, and there's the flag. That looked like the left tackle to me, Dave.
Yeah, that play looked awful from the get-go. It was going to be a handoff to Brown.
Prior to snap, ball start on the offense. Number 64. 5-yard.
Randy, I've been there with you, brother. I know how you're feeling. Just have that long timeout. Should be all set in exactly what you're doing, and they come out and make a mistake like that in the formation, which really led to all the confusion, led to that penalty, no question.
Taylor is split out wide to the bottom of your screen on 1st and 15 from the 19. Bonaslawski from the gun. They're setting up the screen. Tough running down to the 9-yard line. Donald Brown.
Boy, and I'll tell you, Julian Riley, 99, had a great shot at him on the sideline, and Brown ran right through it. Young man out of New Jersey, 209-pound freshman running back. Take a look at here, just a quick little flare, almost knocked down by Selby. Watch Julian Riley right there. Boy, you'd like to think he's a big defensive lineman. He ran through that tackle.
Here comes a blitz. Bonislavski got it off. Pass is caught inside the 5. Touchdown, Connecticut. Dion Anderson, his second touchdown reception in as many games.
Great job of UConn fighting through the penalty here, fighting through all the early explosion from South Florida. And that's a nice throw by the quarterback, Bonislavski. Good balance right there. Boy, I tell you, I really, really like Keon Anderson. I think I, especially as a coach, love the way he blocks.
Matt Nuzzi on to attempt the extra point. And he shoots it. No good.
Wow.
Missed it wide to the right.
Wow.
Second miss of the year for Nuzzi. He's having a tough night in Tampa. But UConn's on the board, and it's 14-6. Matt Grothe knocked out of the game, but is back up on his feet on the Bulls sideline. USF continues to lead Connecticut 14-6, but the Huskies on the board. 10-yard touchdown pass from Bonislavski to fullback Dion Anderson. The point after was missed. So the USF lead is 8. Kick into the end zone and through the back. Trey Williams had the ball deflect off his hands. So USF will start this drive from the 20.
Yeah, take a look at this now. This is the UConn sideline. They got the Cool Miss fans going. Of course, Coach Edsel, they practiced indoors this week, had the heat pumped up to 85 degrees. Everybody that comes before is always worried about this heat and humidity. Always interesting coaches, and I was the worst. Pretty darn paranoid about everything. You know, you got to have all your bases covered.
So Grothe now is back in the game, and you can hear the fans' reception for him. From the 20. Grothe, quick flip, pass is caught, and Johnson is dropped. That's a good tackle.
Excellent tackle.
Darius Butler.
Yep. And that's a quick little bubble screen. The problem with that is wide receivers have to block.
You can see Dante Moore right there, number 21.
That's something.
And
broke his arm last week.
Yeah, broke his arm on the second offensive play of the game against Navy. He's wearing a hard cast, and there's foam wrapped around that.
Of course, young guy right from Tampa out of Blake High School. There's no way he was going to miss this game.
15 Florida natives on the Connecticut roster. Second down and 10. Grothe steps up. He may not be as mobile now with that gimpy ankle, and he is dropped. Rama Fuller, you know he'd like to have a big game.
And this is a real problem for South Florida. Take a look at the replay right here. Let's see if we can see exactly what his movement looks like. He's up on his toes. That's a good sign right there, but just no place to go. But, obviously, you're going to have to curtail the amount that you run your quarterback, and that was a big, big, big part of the game plan here tonight for South Florida.
Third down and long, 3rd and 15. The line of scrimmage is the 16. Grothe was setting up the middle screen. Williams breaks one and takes it out to the 21-yard line. That's a gain of 6, but the Bulls will have to punt the football away.
Yep, and I'll tell you, it's been an ongoing problem for South Florida. You had Ricky Ponton, your starting running back, a good one, a real good one that was suspended. He'll become eligible next week. And then, of course, Plancher, your second, a great freshman running back, tore his ACL in the first game of the season. And here we come with the rugby-style kick again. And these are always exciting.
Taylor is back to receive this punt at the UConn 45. So Tichy with the rugby-style kick. And where that roll goes, nobody knows until it goes off his feet.
That was a very effective one right there. And, of course, I would do something a little different against that. We'll talk about it when we come back.
That's a 40-yard punt, no return. We're back to Tampa in a moment.
40-yard line.
14-6. USF leads Connecticut. You see our two head coaches and Randy Edsel on your left, Jim Levitt on the right. Randy Edsel feeling a lot better about things right now. Last time the Huskies had the football, they scored a touchdown, and they start this drive from their own 41-yard line. Colley off the left side for 2 yards.
South Florida's done a great job so far of stopping the run. UConn is averaging 3.3 per carry coming in. They were averaging 5.6, so they've done a good job there. Boy, that would be a blow right there. That's their left tackle, William Beatty, down on the ground.
So Beatty needs attention. Matt Grothe went down earlier in the first half with a sprained right ankle. They taped that back up and got him in the game. Beatty is down on the turf right now. 6'5", 270, redshirt sophomore from York, Pennsylvania. He has started every game this season. You're talking about the UConn coaches turning the heat up to 85 degrees in their immaculate new facilities in Connecticut. One of the linemen for Connecticut, Cody Brown, is from Coral Springs. He told Randy Edsall, Coach, it doesn't get that hot in Florida. But Randy Edsall was right to try to do something, because coming into the game tonight, when the temperature is 80 degrees or above, here at Raymond James Stadium, the Bulls are 19-2.
Yeah, they're pretty tough down here in the hot weather. But I'll tell you what, this is really a beautiful evening. The humidity is down. I don't really see the temperature being a big factor in this game for UConn. I think they got the cool mist going, but they kind of hit it lucky. This is a pretty beautiful evening, and the humidity's down. I don't think we'll see a lot of guys cramping or anything else tonight.
You know, we saw Lou Allen in the backfield just briefly on the last possession for UConn. Last year against USF, he rushed for over 100 yards, 101 yards, and had a 60-yard touchdown run on the third play of the game. 2nd down and 8. The fake to Colley. This is Taylor, a little flanker screen.
Boy, that speed of South Florida. It looked like they had a play going, and man, they just converged in a hurry.
Jeremy Burnett.
Take a look at it here. Just a quick fake away, and it's going to get it out here quick on the screen to Taylor. But boy, look at the speed getting to the football here. That was Moffitt, Verpale, Burnett.
Third and 7. Huskies need to reach the USF 49. Bonoslawski nearly stripped of the football. Now he's going to tuck it. He's going to run it. And he is going to slide down a yard shy of the first down at midfield. And Bones really didn't know where he was on the field.
Again, did not recognize the situation, because if he stayed on his feet a little longer, he's got the first down here. Look at the rush by Robinson right there. Almost smacked the ball right out of his hand. And take a look at the slide right there. And that was a good spot by the officials. They put it right down on the 49.5, 3/4 yard line, and that was a great job, great spot.
Pavasaris has had one punt blocked tonight. He had a 69-yard punt. And he gets this one off as the play clock expired. Inside the 5, down at the 1-yard line.
Boy, what a great bounce and what great coverage.
Branch nearly got the 69-yard punt down in the first quarter. This time, he downs Pavasaris' punt literally inside the 1. 49 yards.
Yeah, take a look at this now. Take a look at the bounce rate. A nice big high bounce Taylor made. Oh, great job of not getting that right foot on the goal line. And Ian Randolph was not back on that last punt for South Florida. That was Amari Jackson.
Well, Doug, I was going to ask you what you thought of the strategy of Randy Edsall not going for it on 4th down and a yard.
I love it. I can always answer these questions later.
Turned out to be a terrific strategy for Connecticut. From inside the 1, Grothe under center. This is Williams. And a little bit of a surge off the left side as he takes it out near the 4.
You know, the real estate down here is kind of tough to get. That was a nice surge by Williams right there. Take a look at the offensive line here. Well, I don't quite understand that. They left Cody Brown unblocked. I mean, they didn't even touch him.
2nd down and 7. Again, Grothe will operate under center with Williams as a lone setback. Grothe got that ball away. Boy, he had a receiver running open at the 18-yard line, but he could not make the connection with Ben Busby.
Yeah, well, they ran a blitz, and Dante Moore was right in his face as he came off that fake, and that was a great throwaway by a young quarterback. That could have been a safety very easily. He just got it out of his hands as quick as possible.
Doug, I think that was one of the rare occasions this year where I've seen 2 tight ends in the game for USF.
Yeah, only because they're coming out. Yeah, that's not their usual deal, that's for sure. This is their usual deal, 4 wide receivers.
Trips to the top of your screen on 3rd and 7 from the 4. Big down for the UConn defense. Option. And Grothe is dropped. Grothe dropped down as he reached the 5-yard line.
The linebacker.
Yeah, Ryan Hennigan, you know, he is back to full strength now. He's really bothered by a hamstring in fall camp. Makes a big play.
You know, take a look at it right here. Yeah, that was very well played. They had the pitch covered. They had the quarterback covered. That's assignment football on the option. Now, you know, we're going to have this rugby punt again by South Florida. What I would do defensively against this, I would put 2 safeties back so that get the ball on the first bounce. I would spread. I'd have a double safety back there, both of them, of course, from the middle of the field over, so they couldn't get all that roll out of it. I don't want that ball rolling down the field.
So Connecticut has called timeout. Both teams now with 2 timeouts remaining. 3:23 left in our first quarter. If you're joining us late, USF started very, very quickly. They blocked a Pavasaris punt. Then on the first offensive snap, Matt Grothe went 16 yards for a touchdown. That was only the 2nd time in the 10-year history of the Bulls that they scored a touchdown on their first offensive play. Then on their next possession, they had great field position. Benjamin Williams went 13 yards for a score to make it 14-0, and that's how the first quarter ended. Early in the second quarter, Deion Anderson caught a 10-yard touchdown pass. The point after was missed to make it 14-6, and now the Huskies look to have great field position. And how about TG? He's not going to have much room to operate on that rugby-style punt. He's on the back of the end zone right now.
Well, exactly. And plus, the ball's on the right hash, so he doesn't have a lot of room to keep the ball in bounds.
Taylor back at the Bulls' 40. Gives a little air under this one, and it takes a UConn bounce. And the ball is down at the 38-yard line.
Yep. Great field position, plenty of time. That was a good timeout, by the way, by Randy Edsel right there. Now you got all kinds of time to 3:15 to go, and you got great field position.
33-yard punt, no return. Well, Larry Taylor really not getting too much of a chance to return kicks. Wake Forest, Indiana, and now USF all punting away from him. That's a good strategy. From the 38, great field position for UConn.
Plenty of time.
Fake to Colley. Bonaslawski, the throw, incomplete at the 25-yard line.
Boy, Trey Williams at right corner, number 21, was all over that one. That would have had to have been a perfect throw and catch. The junior from Plant City, Florida, has really had a great season. He's 2nd in the NCAA with 5 interceptions, and I'll tell you, he was all over that one.
Not bad. 5 interceptions in 5 games. Jeffers was the intended receiver. 2nd down and 10. Short drop for Bones this time. Pass is caught, knocked out of bounds at the Bulls' 34. And the reception was made by Brandon Young. So Young with his 2nd catch of the night.
This South Florida defense, you will rarely ever see them play cover 2. Their corners are out on an island every single football game, and boy, but they've had some great corners here. Anthony Henry, of course, played here now with the Dallas Cup. They've had a bunch of good corners here.
Well, you saw the intensity in the eyes of Ben Moffitt and Alan Craig. 3rd down and 5. 4 wide. Colley's a wing for Bonaslawski from the gun. The protection is good. The pass to Taylor is caught.
Excellent throw. And that was against press coverage. And again, that was that comeback route. And Taylor has been extremely impressive to me. He really runs great routes and has a good feel and seems to have a good chemistry between he and Bonoslawski. Let's take a look at it right here, right in your living room. Perfect, right on the sideline. Terrific throw.
Taylor came to UConn as a running back and was used strictly as a return man his first 2 years. Colley swarmed under. Moffitt led the charge. You know, Doug, we haven't really talked too much about this tonight, but there was a lot of discussion tonight from the Bulls about the revenge factor. They're really hurting from last year's game, a game they lost to UConn 15-10. If they had won that game, they would have played West Virginia for the Big East Championship in a berth in the Sugar Bowl, and UConn spoiled all that.
They really did, and that was a devastating defeat last year for South Florida. That's movement, and there's the penalty. Boy, now UConn is getting into the action here with penalties.
That'll go against Terrence Jeffers.
Right of snap.
Hey, as a
Ball
coach,
start on the offense. Number 8.
Got a wide receiver
5-yard
that jumps. I mean, golly, they're looking at the football. I've never understood that, why that should be such an issue.
Well, if you're Randy Edsall right now, Doug, you'd love a touchdown, obviously, because Matt Newsy's having a tough first half. He's already missed a 24-yard field goal. He's missed an extra point. You don't want to put on the shoulders of your kicker. You want a touchdown on this drive.
Yeah, and then you're going to go for 2. No question in my mind.
2nd and 16. Bonoslawski, good pressure by the Bulls. And that pass may have been tipped. And a flag comes in late.
Oh, my God!
Pass was intended for Brandon McLean.
Well, you saw the reaction of Jim Levitt. He better get away before he gets a penalty in. He's walking to the far end. That's wise on his part.
Number 4. The ball be placed in the spot of the infraction. Automatic. First down.
It is pass interference.
Yep.
Now, obviously, if that pass had been tipped, you'd be able to hit someone. We'll see it here.
I don't think it was tipped. Wow. I mean, excuse me, Jim, I got to agree. I saw nothing. Unless there was right there was a little push. That's exactly what they called. No question about it.
Call goes against Jenkins. 1st and 10. Bonoslawski to throw again. Stephen Nicholas lowers the boom on Colley.
Boy, I love that kid. I tell you, see the big smile on his face. He loves to play some ball. Young guy out of Jacksonville Lee High School. Well, this is huge now. 2nd and 10. South Florida continues to rotate defensive backs and defensive linemen. Now they got their nickel on the field.
Jerome Murphy comes in. 5 defensive backs. Bonoslawski, they're going to roll the pocket. Throw back the other way. Designed well for Brown.
Got to play.
Inside the 20. Inside the 10-yard line. No, that's Colley, rather. Excuse me. Colley takes the screen pass. A well-designed play, and it's 1st and goal.
You know, that's the 4th time tonight now, and I like the plan by UConn where they've thrown back across the field. And again, this South Florida team pursues so hard and so fast. They are susceptible to plays like that.
1:37 remaining in the first half. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. This touchdown drive, if it's a touchdown drive, could be a great halftime boost for UConn. To the 6, Donald Brown. Not much running room.
Nope, and the clock is down to 1:25. Now, UConn does have 2 timeouts to use here, so really, they're okay in terms of having plenty of time.
Dave Weekley, Doug Graber at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Big East football tonight. USF leading 14-6, but Connecticut is driving inside the 5. And that's the first carry of the night for Lou Allen. Allen ran hard last week in a losing effort against Navy, and Randy Edsall said he was going to try to get him more work. That's his first carry of the night.
Well, that was Danny Verpale, the safety, that met him right there at about the 2-yard line. That was a pretty good collision. That was a good effort by both of them.
Connecticut calls timeout. 55 seconds left. Well, you know, this has been a kind of an odd year for Jim Levitt. They're used to being behind at halftime. That's a situation they've had virtually in every game all season long.
Now, they've been the comeback kids. Of course, they get to a 3-2 record. There you see him talking to Wally Burnham, defensive coordinator. Of course, Jim, his whole background is as a defensive coach, as is Randy Edsall. When I was the head coach at Rutgers, Randy Edsall was the secondary coach at Syracuse. Then he went to Boston College with Tom Coughlin. Then he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars with Tom as secondary coach. Then he went to Georgia Tech as defensive coordinator. And then, of course, up to UConn, and has done a terrific job with that program as UConn has come all the way up to Big East eligibility and Big East caliber play.
We're going to try to get a word with Jim Levitt, the head football coach of the Bulls, at the end of the half. And stay with us at halftime. Doug Woolard, the athletic director of USF, will join us. And, of course, we'll have all the stats and highlights. 3rd down and goal. From the eye. Fake to Allen. Bonaslawski threw it away.
Good throwaway. Everything was well covered. Well, that's what a veteran quarterback, a senior, should do. Everything was well covered. Throw it up there in the end zone in the stands.
So here comes Newsy. And he could use a good kick to bolster his confidence. Has already missed a 24-yarder tonight. Has already missed an extra point.
I'll tell you what's a factor in this is, you know, these kickers, that they watch the tape. Now, South Florida does a great job of rushing kicks. Sometimes they get just a little bit excited, you know, and try to go just a little bit quicker and get out of kilter a little bit.
Well, we've got to change. We've got to change a kicker.
I'm going to let you pronounce this last name. I'm not going to try this.
Craig
one.
Vicdomino.
That's good. I could never have done that well. I think Coach Edsall just getting a little bit frustrated, obviously, with Newsy. This would be his first attempt of the year. Vicdomino. There you go. Not bad, huh? Out of Waterford, Connecticut. Senior.
So his first attempt will come from the right hash. It'll be a 24-yard attempt, and it'll be out of the hold of the quarterback, Matt Bonaslawski. So Randy Edsall going to the backup kicker after Matt Newsy has a tough first half.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, like we mentioned, South Florida has blocked a tremendous amount of field goals since Jim Levitt has been here in the last 10 years. They do a great job of coaching this, and they really work at
it. Line drives it right through. So with 48 seconds, UConn draws a little closer, now within 5.
That was a tremendous drive by UConn, of course, helped with that one pass interference penalty against Mike Jenkins. Here's the kick again. Boy, it was a low one. He's fortunate to get that through the jumpers in the middle. But, you know, the call on Jenkins, the first replay, when you looked at it, saw nothing. But he did get his hand on him when he came out of his break, the wide receiver, and of course that was the call. And that's just kind of laziness. I've coached corners my whole life. They were just a little bit lazy there, put that hand on him.
Well, Doug, this game has really gotten a lot more interesting. After the first 6 minutes of the opening quarter, it looked like USF was going to run UConn right out of the building. Yep. Now it's 14-9. The Huskies have scored 9 unanswered points. They're back to within a touchdown. And we'll just have to see in the second half. Matt Grothe has returned to the action, but we don't know how he's really feeling.
And there's no question in my mind when he went out, that certainly the momentum of the game changed. No question about that.
Here's Erskine. Erskine makes the first man miss and takes it out to the 26-yard line. You're wondering about Ian Randolph. He's been off the kickoff team for the last couple of games.
Yeah, and he was not on the punt, and I'm looking for him on the sideline. And, of course, I don't think he would, but I'm wondering if he might have had some kind of injury here that we missed in that second quarter, because I don't see him on the bench at all.
Well, Jim Levitt's got one timeout to play with here, and the clock is running. They'll go from the shotgun, 4 wide. Williams is a wing. Now he shifts to the right side. And they'll go to Williams. So Jim Levitt looks intent to let time expire here in the first half.
You know, we're going to try to catch Coach Levitt coming off the field here, and this, if we could catch him, this will be interesting. I guarantee.
14-9 after 2 quarters of play. This is the Big East opener for Connecticut. And the Bulls of USF looking to snap a 2-game slide. Jim Levitt is joining us now down on the sideline. Jim, your impression of the first half?
Well, you know, I mean, the penalties, obviously I'm debating the pass interference calls. I mean, it's unbelievable, but I guess we can't touch anybody at all. We can't even breathe on them. Other than that, you know, we stalled, our offense stalled. We can't do that. Field position, they're getting us with field position. We got to get first down so we can create some field position. That's the biggest thing.
Jim,
okay,
we appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, Jim Levitt, the head coach of the USF Bulls. We have reached the break. USF leads Connecticut 14-9. We'll talk with Doug Woolard, the athletic director at USF, when we return to Tampa in just a moment. Here in Tampa, Big East football tonight, USF 14, UConn 9. We're at the break. It's been a busy day so far in the Big East Conference, where Pitt won at Syracuse 21-11 and Cincinnati defeated Akron 20-14. So these are the Big East Conference standings up to the minute. And Pitt right now, for the moment, leading the league 2-0, 5-1 overall, followed by Rutgers, Louisville, West Virginia, UConn, USF, Syracuse, and Cincinnati. The athletic director at USF, Doug Woolard, joins us now. Doug, thanks for coming over. What was your impression of the first half?
Good first half, and as you mentioned, when you look at league standings, knowing that you're only going to play 7 league games in the Big East, every game is very important.
Yeah, that certainly is the case. You know, last week when you hosted the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, when the ranks were nationally ranked, and they still are, there were 9 bowl scouts here to see Rutgers and USF. You went to a bowl last year.
We absolutely did. First bowl in the history against North Carolina State. And what we decided to do was we invited all of the bowl reps with Big East tie-ins, as well as all the BCS bowl reps, and they had 100%. We had 100% attendance. I think they really enjoyed their time here in Tampa Bay.
Jim Levitt now in his 10th season. He brought this program to fruition, and a lot of folks think he's doing his best coaching job this year.
Well, you got a guy from the area, and you're not going to find any more passionate about it than Jim Levitt.
Well, you know, we're in the middle of the football season, but you've got to be cognizant of the fact that basketball at USF starts next week, practice anyway, for the men and the women.
Practice starts on Saturday for men and women, and our men actually have 5 home games before they hit the road, and we're certainly excited about that. Our women made the NCAA tournament for the first time in their history, and Jessica Dixon was the leading scorer in the country on the women's side for all but for the last 3 weekends, and she's back as a senior.
So obviously for USF, this association with the Big East Conference is working out.
You know, it's special. We're the only Division I university in Tampa Bay area with 3.5 million people. And last year, in our first year in the Big East, we had 7 of our programs finish 4th or better.
All right. Doug, thanks so much for joining us here at halftime. Pleasure to see you. We always enjoy coming to Tampa to see the Bulls.
You're welcome. Glad to have you here.
All right, that's Doug Woolard. He's the athletic director of the Bulls at USF. We'll take a break. Moon over Tampa. A clear night. USF leading UConn at the break, 14-9. It's halftime here in Tampa. USF 14, UConn 9. USF jumped out to a quick 14-0 lead, but Connecticut has now scored 9 unanswered points, including a field goal in the final minute of the second quarter. Rejoined now by Doug Graber. USF's got the lead, but does UConn have the momentum?
No question, UConn has the momentum. You know, Florida really come out of the box, I mean, fast. They were flying early in the game, the block punt and everything else. But UConn has clearly gained the momentum. And I thought when really Matt Grothe went out with that injury, I thought that's where it certainly started to turn.
All right, so Matt Grothe will play in the second half. Do you think they'll limit the rushes he'll have?
Oh, I think you have to. I mean, they've, you know, he's not going to be 100%. I mean, that was a pretty severe looking ankle sprain. He's taped up. He can throw it. but I don't see him running up and down the field like he's done in the past.
Doug, let's go ahead and check the highlights of an action-packed first couple of quarters of football. This is early action where Chris Pavasaris has his punt blocked by Jerome Murphy.
Yeah, and of course, South Florida has blocked a tremendous amount of kicks, and here's the first play after it, just a sprint option, and they blocked the linebacker that had the quarterback, and that was an easy touchdown.
Matt Grothe, 16 yards, only the second time in USF history they've scored a touchdown on their first offensive play. Second possession, Benjamin Williams goes 13 yards for a score.
Yeah, and that was, again, too easy. You know, UConn has done a good job on defense, so they haven't given big plays.
This is the play in which Grothe injured his right ankle.
Yeah,
he had to come out of the game. He returned late in the second quarter.
In a lot of pain there when he first got it.
Dion Anderson fighting his way into the end zone. The pass from Bonoslawski covered 10 yards, and UConn was back in the game. But Matt Newsy having his problems. Shoots the point after, wide. And he also missed a 24-yard field goal in the first half.
Badly missed it.
So those are the highlights of the first half. If you're USF, how do you get the momentum back?
Well, it has to start offensively. I mean, two things. One, you've got to get your offense going. You've got to start throwing the ball down the field. This is what they do. They are a big play offense. They haven't thrown many down the field yet. I think they have to do that. Two, defensively in particular, they've got to limit these foolish penalties. I know Jim was really frustrated with the interference calls. I understand that. But you know what? The penalties have been a big factor in this first half, giving UConn some momentum as well.
You know, if you're a UConn fan, despite the fact the Huskies are trailing, you have to be real happy about the way they weathered the storm after being down 14-0 after the first 6 minutes of this game.
Well, that was a real onslaught early, and it looked like they were going to run them right out of the stadium. But again, the penalties that really kind of slowed USF down after that as well.
Let's take a peek at the stats from the first half of play. And this was really a story of two different quarters. The first quarter was dominated by the Bulls. And there you see the total yards. You wouldn't believe it if you'd watched the first 10 minutes of this game. But right now, Connecticut has more total yards.
Yeah, that's amazing. But the biggest stat to me right there, look at the penalties. Yep. 3 for 20, 9 for 79 yards. And so many of those were crucial, in particular the interference penalties.
Matt Bonoslawski, 96 yards passing the football in the first half. He threw 2 touchdowns last week in a losing effort against Navy with no interceptions. He's done a good job taking care of the football for UConn.
You know, he's shown me a lot. He's had a lot of poise tonight, and he's been under some duress now, and he's not really a runner, but he's had good poise.
All right, we'll have to wait and see about the availability of Ian Randolph, the outstanding wide receiver for USF in the second half of this game. He did not play much of the second quarter, did not return punts, was not out on the field to play at the wide receiver spot either.
No, and I'll tell you, they have lost a tremendous weapon, not only as a punt returner, but also as a receiver. He's a big part of their game plan on screens, and they're trying to get him the ball, but obviously he's out of the game.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have our third quarter kickoff. Halftime in Tampa. USF leads 14-9, but UConn coming on to the chagrin of Jim Leavitt and company. Third quarter coming up shortly. USF leads Connecticut 14-9 at the half. Connecticut has scored 9 unanswered points to get back into this game. Dave Weekley, Doug Graber here at halftime. And Doug, last night Louisville won over Middle Tennessee State in Nashville. Also today, Cincinnati picked up another non-conference win for the Big East with a victory over Akron. The Big East in the non-conference portion of the season as a league has really done very well.
Unbelievably, tremendously well. Mike Tranghese, the Big East commissioner, has to be thrilled with the performance of the Big East this year. You've got 3 teams in the top 25, of course, with West Virginia 4. They'll probably move up after the loss with Auburn today. Louisville is right up there in the top 10, near in the top 10. Rutgers has bumped into the top 25. Of course, that's my old school.
Right.
I'm kind of proud of them for doing that. But you know, you've got USF, you got Pitt, who had, I think they're 5-1 now, had a big win over Syracuse today. Cincinnati won today, Akron. It's been a tremendous season for Big East football up to this point.
To try to put this game into its proper context, consider that UConn is 2-2 on the season. They're playing at USF tonight, then they will play Army. They really need to be 4-2 heading into that WVU game if they want to go to a bowl. And right now, USF is 3-2. They have to play at Louisville and at West Virginia to end the regular season. So this is a critical game for both of these teams and their bowl hopes.
No question about that. And, you know, it's early in the season, but this game has definite bowl ramifications. No question about that, Dave.
All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get our third quarter underway. USF leads UConn 14-9.
Bulls fans, make sure to check out the Bulls.
Third quarter just about to start here in Tampa. USF leads UConn 14-9. You know, Doug Raber, one of the reasons that at the end of the first half, Jim Leavitt was hesitant to try to run any offensive plays when they got the ball with about a half a minute to go. USF deferred after winning the toss. They'll get the football to start the third quarter.
Yeah, and certainly that was a factor there. And really, with the amount of time they had left, I'd have just taken a knee. I mean, why even hand it off? You're not going to try to do anything. But, you know, that's just a coach's decision. But this USF offense is really 119 yards total offense in the first half. They haven't gotten much done. And I'll tell you what now, in my opinion, you know, they really, let's be honest, they have 3 walk-on running backs. Grothe is hurt. They're going to have to start throwing the ball down the field a little bit because this has been a big play offense that has made no big plays so far in the first half here.
Third quarter is underway. Short kick fielded at the 21-yard line. A terrific return out to the 43-yard line goes Devin Gordon. Devin Gordon, a reserve tight end. So he knows what to do with a football when he gets a chance to carry it. So it was a rare opportunity for him to touch the ball, and he made the most of it.
That was a heck of a job by a tight end. He actually made a guy miss, did a nice job fielding the football right off the bat. And that always scares you as a coach when you got guys handling the ball like that aren't necessarily used to it. And UConn has one of their guys down here.
Alan Barnes.
Yeah, wow.
And Alan Barnes, this could be a very critical injury for UConn because Alan Barnes is starting tonight at the strong safety position. Dana Delliston did not make the trip. The normal starter, Delliston, at the strong safety spot. He was 40 minutes late for a team meeting yesterday. Not 4 minutes.
Yep.
40 minutes. 4-0. And Randy Edsall just decided to keep him home.
Well, that's a no-brainer, you know, when you're getting ready to go on a road trip and you got a guy 40 minutes late, you know. Hey, I had a rule, when the bus was supposed to leave, it left. I don't care whether who was there, who wasn't there, we're going.
You see Grothe's numbers after the injury far less effective. Williams on first down. He goes off the left side and he cracks into UConn territory down to the 49-yard line.
Nice push by the offensive line right here. Really a nice push. Take a look at it. Now, that's a terrific job by Matt Hooners at left guard and a nice job by Watson at left tackle.
Well, 2nd down and 2 is a lot easier to call for Rod Smith, the offensive coordinator for USF. Grothe operates from the gun. And he'll take it down to the 40-yard line.
I'll tell you, Grothe looked pretty good running on that one. Now that was watch this. This is the zone option play. His read said keep it. He kept it. Did a nice job of advancing the football down the field. Good job by Watson again. 6'5", 295 senior out of St. Pete, Lakewood High School. And boy, they've had a lot of great ones come out of that school.
They really have. Marcus Edwards, number 11, is to the bottom of your screen as Grothe operates from the gun.
Got him.
Takes the option.
Got him.
Wide open. Inside the 10. And down near the 7-yard line. The reception is made by S.J. Green. His 2nd catch of the night. It's 1st and goal for the Bulls.
And that was Tyvon Branch that got there to really make a pretty good collision. But they start the option play, and he is wide open. Nobody within 10 yards of him until that hit right there by Branch.
Yeah, Green did a great job to keep possession of that football. That was a big-time hit by Branch.
That's really the first big play tonight now that this USF offense has put together. S.J. Green, the big senior wide receiver, 220 pounds, 6'3".
1st and goal from the 8. Bulls from the gun. Williams, and he is met solidly as he hits the line. And it's Tyvon Branch again.
Now, this is the one area on the field where, you know, as a coach, I would worry a little bit about the spread offense, Dave, because, you know, it's a spread offense, but you got no field to spread. And you're going to have to, and they do have a tight end in there, but now they're forced to do some things offensively that they don't necessarily do a lot of.
Well, we haven't talked too much tonight about Amari Jackson. He's at the bottom of your screen as they go with 3 wide receivers. Grothy rolling, throwing, incomplete. It was Green. He was open at the 1, and Grothy's throw was wide.
He was wide open, and that was really the first time that Matt Grothy, and you see his response right there. He missed one right there, and he knows it. Take a look at it, sprint out, he's wide open for a touchdown and just overgunned it, just overthrew him just a little bit. Didn't quite get his shoulders turned.
Bleakley, the tight end, comes off. They'll go with 4 wide. Taurus Johnson into the game now. He's at the top of the screen, trips to the right. 3rd and goal. Grothy spins away from trouble. Inside the 5. Touchdown, USF.
That's what he brings to the table right there. He is just an instinctive football player. They tried to run the bubble screen. It was totally covered. He just reverse pivot and stuck it in the end zone on his own. That was an amazing play by a freshman. Take a look at it. It's totally covered up to the front. Look at that. He just reverse pivot. Just comes out as well. Just run it in. No big deal. Wow.
Well, Grothy had a 16-yard touchdown run on the Bulls' first possession of the game, and he goes 8 yards for the score on the Bulls' first possession of the 3rd quarter. Mike Benzer adds the extra point, and USF has a 21-9 lead. Matt Grothy, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the night. UConn gets the ball when we return. 21-9, USF scores on the first possession of the 2nd half. Matt Grothy, an 8-yard touchdown run, and there you see Grothy talking to the coaches about it at the end of the bench. Tichy with the kick. This one will be returnable for Taylor from the goal line. Taylor beyond the 20, crosses the 30, out to the 33-yard line. Larry Taylor, and that's what he can do for you, a 33-yard kickoff return.
Of course, you know, and UConn, they had their whole staff out recruiting the state of Florida last night. They had 7 coaches here. Take a look at that return, but they had 7 coaches out visiting high schools and going to high school games, and that's why right there, that's a young man from Florida, Taylor. And that's the kind of, there's so much speed down in the state. Everybody recruits the state of Florida.
So good field position for UConn to start their first possession of the 2nd half. Crawley, he meets a stone wall at the 35-yard line after a gain of 2.
You know, we've been tracking this all night. There you see Randolph right there, and I think that his back is stiffened up. That's what it looks like. He really is having a hard time just moving around, and even you see him right there sitting down very, very gingerly. So I don't think we're going to see him again tonight, and that really hurts USF.
Yeah, he's a big play guy, leads the Big East in punt returns, 3rd in the nation in that category. Bonaslawski fakes the Cawley, gets the pass away. Dion Anderson, who's already caught a touchdown tonight, and he was surrounded by green-clad Bull defenders.
Take a look at it right here. And I'll tell you that this Dion Anderson has really, really impressed me here on tape and tonight, seeing him live.
Patrick St. Louis led the charge. 3rd down and 5. Bonaslawski, 11 of 22 for 98 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Protection is good. Steps up, fires, in traffic, incomplete. And trying to get it to the freshman, Kunyu again.
Yeah, and this really is a ball that should have been caught. Bonaslawski did a nice job there of throwing that deep in route, and that one really should have been caught.
So Chris Pavasaris will come on for his first punt.
Yep.
And Amari Jackson is replacing Randolph on the punt return team.
You know, and Amari Jackson has made some big plays in his career here as a return guy and as a receiver.
Papasaris.
Oh, what a kick.
Great punt. Amari Jackson, why did he field the ball at the 7-yard line? Trying to get wide. UConn still after him. Flags down. But Jackson takes it out to the 22-yard line. Why would you field the ball at your own 7-yard line?
Well, I've asked that question myself a few times, believe me.
This one will go against the Bulls. 15-yard return.
During the return, legal block in the back on South Florida.
Oh, there it is right there.
Half the distance to the goal.
Definite block in the
First
back
down.
that I just saw on the replay. Here, take a look at it right here. Right there. Come on. That's really a poor decision by Jeremy Burnett right there.
Official timeout here in Tampa. USF 21, UConn 9. 10:23 to go in the third quarter. USF set to begin their second possession of the second half, and they'll start from their own 8-yard line. Grothy on the keeper across the 10. Powers out beyond the 15 to the 16-yard line. And that plays a winner. Well, obviously, you want to take care of the ball, Doug Graber, when you're backed up against your own end zone, and Grothy got 8.
Yeah, and that's the quarterback, what they call a quarterback counter play. But that's a designed run all the way. They're going to kick out and try to give Grothy a crack. And boy, I tell you, he's really a tough kid coming back from his ankle injury, and he's running like he's not hurt at all.
Handoff to Williams. Defensed well by Connecticut, but it looks like Williams may have picked up the first down. He needed to reach the 18.
And that's big Dan Davis right there out of Plainfield, New Jersey.
Second year as a starter. Had a season-high 6 tackles against Navy last week. It is, in fact, a first down. 1st and 10 at the 18. Williams, the lone setback.
That's the audible from the sideline.
Here's Williams. Oh, breaks clean up the middle, tripped up, or he was going to go a long way. As is, he picks up 11 to the 29-yard line. It's another Bulls first down.
Well, the rushing game was pretty much non-existent in the first half. In both these series right here, they have busted Williams loose and really had some cracks. And you know, they're really in a hole right here. And this is huge to get the ball out almost to the 30-yard line now.
Well, Williams scored his first career touchdown from 13 yards out in the first quarter. And here he goes again. He cracks down to the 33-yard line.
5'7", 190 pounds, out of Lake Wales, Florida, walk-on. Doing pretty darn good right here for the Bulls. Pretty good cut right there.
Hey, USF has run the ball effectively tonight when they needed to do so. They came in tonight 5th in the Big East in rushing, 142 yards a game. 2nd down and 6. Grothy with 4, and it's a design quarterback keeper. Grothy's got the first down and more. And he takes it out to the 43-yard line. That's 10 more.
Boy, I tell you, you have to be impressed with this freshman's toughness. You know, we all saw him on the ground in a lot of pain. And again, they caught him in a blitz. They caught him in the perfect defense right here on that last play.
So the Bulls have moved the ball from their own 8 out to the 43-yard line, and a fresh set of downs. Here's Grothy. Escapes the pocket. Fires. Pass is caught. It's Williams to the 49-yard line for a gain of 6. Doug, we just got the word, Butler on the stop for UConn, just got the word from the bench area that Ian Randolph's injury problem has more to do with his hip than his back.
Yeah.
But it's that area. You can see how he was gingerly moving around.
Very, very stiff and sore, no question about that. maybe a hip pointer. Again, the way he was moving on the bench, that's very well what it looked like.
2nd down and 4. Grothe again, breaking tackle, still on his feet to the UConn 39. So Grothe picks up 12 more.
Boy, he really took a shot from Dante Moore right there from behind. But again, this young freshman continues to impress. That's the read option. Makes a good read on it. Breaks a tackle. Watch Dante Moore come in at the end. Whack, right there. Got him right in the back.
Ricky McCollum missed that tackle. He's in there because of the thinness at the safety spot right now for UConn.
That's amazing. Grothe has more rushing yards than does UConn. Not that time.
Nope.
That's a misread. That's a give read all the way on the option, and that's a mistake by the quarterback. He should have left the ball right in there.
Nice play by Cody Brown.
Now, the interesting thing about that play now is we're starting to see that option play in the NFL with Michael Vick. It's the exact same play. And it's been effective, I'll tell you that. Ask the Buccaneers. 302 yards rushing against them with that, and a lot of it from that play.
2nd and 11 from the UConn 40. Grothe going long for Amari Jackson. He's got it inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line. It was only a matter of time before the Bulls got the ball to the popular Amari Jackson, and they clicked for 34.
Yeah, and that's another one of those plus 25 plays. And that was thrown right on the money by Grothe. Take a look at this delivery. Fundamentally sound, and watch, boy, he just lays it right in there perfectly for Amari Jackson. Yeah, he's down there trying to, UConn is saying that that was a fumble, but he was clearly down.
1st and goal at the 6. Talk about their quick strike ability, Doug. USF this year has only got 2 drives of more than 10 plays. They don't have a drive covering 6 minutes yet. Here's Grothe straining for the goal line. Touchdown, USF.
Well, you know, that's what he brings to the table. I'll tell you, you know, and this is nothing new now. He was player of the year twice as a junior and senior in the state of Florida. He had 3,900 yards total offense as a senior, and he had 2 1,000-yard rushing years. So, you know, he's run the football very well for a long time now.
Benz are on to add the extra point, and he fires it through. USF enjoys its largest lead. 2nd rushing touchdown of the quarter. 3rd overall for Matt Grothe. 28-9. Matt Grothe is piling up the rushing touchdowns tonight here in Tampa. USF 28, UConn 9, 5:46 to go in the 3rd. Grothe has directed 2 scoring drives here in the 3rd quarter for the Bulls, both culminating with touchdown runs. The first one of 8 yards, the last one moments ago from 6 yards out. Kickoff, this is Larry Taylor. A flag is down, and Taylor breaking tackles. Takes it all the way out to the 38-yard line. I think the flag is going to be offsides on the Bulls.
Yeah, where that flag is laying on the field, that's exactly what that call is. And again, the yellow flags just keep piling up for South Florida. Yep.
I think Randy Edsall obviously is going to take the play.
No question about that.
Wait. Offsides on South Florida. Kicking team, number 35. 5-yard penalty added on to the end of the run. 1st down.
I think he must have meant 33. There's no 35 on the roster. That would have been Jeremy Burnett.
One of the starters on defense. From the 43-yard line, UConn's got to get it cranked up. This is the largest deficit they have faced tonight. Bronislawski with the completed pass to the 49-yard line. Moffitt with the tackle. And the reception is made by Brandon Young.
Another flag on USF. I think it was a late hit on the quarterback. And I'll tell you what, this is just amazing.
The passer.
Alan Craig.
On the defense, number 94, hands to the face, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down.
Alan Craig.
He hit the quarterback, up in the head area someplace as he came through, and they're just going to call that every single time.
Well, Craig came into play tonight, third in the Big East in sacks with 3.5. But UConn now hands the ball off to Colley, and he will take it to the 35-yard line. Just a gain of a yard. Returned inside of 5 minutes to go in the third. And you can see Connecticut outscored in the last two games 69-26. Last week when they lost 41-17 to Navy, the Mids put up over 600 yards of total offense, ran for more than 460 yards. It dropped UConn in total defense from 10th to 61st in the nation after that game.
Got it.
Bones with the pass to the end zone. Incomplete. That was a terrific defensive play by Mike Jenkins, knocking the ball away at the last moment from Brandon Young.
Yeah, but if that ball is thrown earlier, because he had him beaten by a good 7-8 yards, if that ball had been delivered on time, they definitely had a touchdown there. Take a look at it right here. Yep, and plus it was thrown out of bounds, but he had a chance right there. He missed a golden opportunity, did Mr. Matt Bronislawski.
Chris Robinson and Tyler Roberts come onto the field late for USF. Extra defensive backs in this passing situation, 3rd and 9. Bronislawski on the rollout. Pass is caught at the 30-yard line, short of a first down. It'll be 4th down. Taylor on the catch.
And again, not good decision making right there. They had a short 5-yard out, which was fine, but it was 3rd and 9.
Yeah. Well, this would be a 47-yard field goal, but trailing 28-9. And with the way the field goal team has gone tonight for UConn, Randy Edsall's going to roll the dice and go for it.
Well, I mean, that's a no-brainer there. You have to in this situation.
Bronislawski under duress, throws, incomplete.
And again, USF is able to stop a drive in spite of all the penalties. Take a look at it right here. Now, he's under duress. Look at that. Wow.
Robinson.
Boy, Robinson has really kind of stepped up tonight. Young man we haven't heard. He's just a redshirt freshman, but he definitely shown some ability to rush the passer.
UConn now 5 of 9 on the season on 4th down conversions. So they can't convert the 4th and 4, and the ball turns back over to USF. And the clock starts once the ball is set for play. You can see the clock running right now before the first down snap. Grothy. Incomplete, intended for Green. Fans want a flag. Darius Butler had the coverage for the Huskies.
But you knew that was coming. Now, this crowd has been a little upset about a couple of interference calls, but no, that was a good no call right there. That definitely was not interference. I think sometimes you get confused with the NFL where you're not allowed to touch them at all after 5 yards. A little bit different interpretation.
Well, leading 28-9, kind of curious why Jim Levitt decided to throw on first down. Gets the clock stopped. Stopped with 3:08. 2nd down and 10 at the 30. 4 wide. Grothy. Quick shot. Pass is caught. It's Green. And he stretches it out beyond the 40-yard line. And it depends on the mark. I think he's got the first down.
Yeah, this is going to be real close. Boy, where they spotted it right there, it's right on the mark. Nope. First down.
It is a first down.
That's that's where those big receivers really make a difference. 220 pounds, and he was able to stick it up in there pretty good. Spread the field, 4 wide receivers.
Williams a wing. Now Williams will shift to the right of Grothe. Grothe on a keeper. Quarterback keeper all the way. Takes it down to the 42-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8. And this is their offense, Doug. I mean, even in a mode where you're trying to burn time off the clock, that short possession passing game, that's as good as a long handoff.
Yeah, this is that quarterback counter play that was so effective. Wow, did he take a shot there? That was very effective earlier, but give UConn credit. They had it stuffed pretty good right there. I'm amazed at the punishment this young freshman is able to take, and he just gets up and keeps on a ticking.
2nd and 8. It's Williams, and look at him carrying tacklers into UConn territory for another 1st down up to the Husky 49.
He made the perfect read right there. Again, that was that zone option play, and they brought a corner blitz, and that was a perfect read. That's a give read all the way, and he did it, and Williams knew what to do with it right there.
We're in Tampa, Big East football tonight. UConn taking on USF. I'm Dave Weekley with Doug Graber. It was 14-9 USF at the break, and the Bulls have added 2 touchdowns. It's 28-9 right now. That's the largest lead for USF.
And I really like what USF is doing right here. You know, when they lost their 2 star running backs early in the season, they really were searching for a running back, and they were playing, of course, Benjamin Williams. They played Walt Smith first. They played Keely Dorsey. But now they have put the ball right in Williams' hands here, and he is the running back, and he's really getting into a rhythm now, and he's been very effective tonight.
And right now, the Bulls have 2 tight ends in the game. Williams splits 2 defenders, takes it to the 35, and it's another 1st down. We're inside of a minute to play in the 3rd.
How about that spin move by Williams? Wow.
Ben Busby and Devin Gordon coming into the game. 2 tight end look.
Take a look at the spin move right here. Woo. That was pretty classy.
USF, 157 rushing yards, nearly tripling the output of Connecticut on the ground. Williams takes a header at the 34-yard line.
And that was S.J. Green trying to, that was a lookout block right there.
Man, that's a tough tackle by Dante Moore. A reminder again that Dante's playing with a broken arm in this game.
What a tough kid. He broke it last week, and then the doctors obviously make those calls that he said it is possible that he can play, and he did it.
All right, we've come to the end of the 3rd quarter, and it was a good quarter for USF at Raymond James Stadium, their home field in Tampa. The Bulls head to the 4th, leading UConn 28-9. We're back with more in just a moment. Leading UConn 28-9. Bulls with the football at the 34-yard line, facing 2nd down and 9. Grothe going for it all to the end zone. Incomplete. Lots of contact, and a flag is down. Marcus Edwards was knocked down, and this is going to go against the Huskies secondary.
Yeah, definitely a little collision down there that knocked him off his stride. And this is going to be 1st down, South Florida, no question.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 38, 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, take a look at him. Run a little post seam here. This is the safety, Ricky McCallum. No question about that call right there. You know what? And he didn't have to do it. The ball was overthrown. That's the sad thing.
1st and 10 balls, ball on the 19-yard line.
Doug, in your opinion, was that a catchable ball?
I didn't think it was. I mean, that was close.
In the red zone, 1st and 10 at the 19. Here's Grothe down to the 17-yard line.
Carried by number 8, Grothe.
You know, he is an excellent ball handler. I mean, that honestly, I mean, I've got a great view up here, and I really thought that he had handed the ball off to Williams. He's you know, he's just a football player. He's not that big. He's not that fast. He doesn't have a cannon or anything like that. But, boy, I'll tell you what, is he a football player?
You know, I talked about it briefly in the midst of their last touchdown drive about the lack of 10-play drives for touchdowns for USF. Only 2 of them coming into this game. The last drive was 10 plays, 92 yards. This is the 10th play of this drive.
Yep. They have come out this second half offensively and really, really executed.
Johnson takes it down to the 11-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and a little over a yard.
3rd down and 2.
Take a look at this. Is just the little rocket screen. Really pretty well defensed by UConn.
Well, McCollum has really been in the middle of a lot of action since coming in off the bench for UConn into the secondary. Go ahead and call this 3rd and 2. Just to get across the 10-yard line to pick it up. Grothy to Williams. He's got the first down. He is down to the 5-yard line. And right now, USF is winning the battle at the point of attack.
They really are. This young offensive line is really taking over in the second half. Take a look at the movement right here. Well, excellent crack. And I'll tell you, and Williams has been a big part of it. Now, I have been very, very impressed with him tonight. This is the 3rd time that I have seen him play the games that we've done, Dave, and this is far and away his best performance, not even close.
1st and goal at the 5. Williams, and he cannot break away. Ryan Hennigan made the stop.
You know, and again, talking about Williams, you know, they kept trying different backs. They didn't know what any of those backs could really do when they lost Plancher. And but a back like him, 5'7", 190 pounds, he has just gotten better and better as the night has progressed here. He's really got into a rhythm.
2nd down and goal. Grothy
got him.
Wide open. Touchdown, USF. Amari Jackson.
That was too easy. That was a little pick route, little rub route, whatever you want to call it. And they obviously were successful because he was scot-free, nobody within 5 yards. Take a look at a little sprint out right here. And there you can see it. There is nobody within 5 yards of him.
So Grothy has run for 3 touchdowns tonight. And now he has his first touchdown pass to Amari Jackson. Benzer adds the extra point. Jackson's down, but not before he scores a touchdown. 35-9 USF. With just a few exceptions, it's been all Bulls tonight. USF 35, UConn 9. Amari Jackson on the receiving end of a touchdown pass from Matt Grothy just moments ago. This is the largest lead of the game. Justin Tichy on to kick the football away. Taylor, 5 yards deep, will bring it out. Across the 20, into space, flag is down. Tichy made the tackle at the 40-yard line. A 41-yard return for Taylor.
Yeah, they just ran a middle wedge return, and there were some missed assignments in terms of who should have hit the cracks in the wedge. They didn't get it done.
Jordan return, holding on Connecticut. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the infraction. 1st down.
Who's it on? Who's it on? I tell you what, I wished I had a dime for every time I uttered that phrase to the officials.
We were also talking a little bit ago about the fact that with USF's quick strike offense, they did not have a touchdown drive this season to this point that was longer, that was 6 minutes.
Right.
That last drive, 12 plays, 70 yards, 6 minutes, 30 seconds.
How about that?
So that's their longest touchdown drive in terms of elapsed time this season. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. eye. Bonaslawski. Intercepted. Threw the ball right into the arms of Tyler Roberts. Roberts with the interception, and he's bumped out of bounds at the UConn 15.
But Roberts was in playing the nickel position, and it was his own coverage, and he was going to the flat. There's a happy young man right there. I think that's his first career interception. Take a look at it now. Throws into the flat, and the nickel back is sitting right there. Obviously a misread.
7th interception of the year for USF. Of course, Trey Williams has 5.
Wow, that was obviously a poor decision by Bonaslawski.
Bonaslawski, now flag has come down.
South Florida, number 10, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
They had 12 in the huddle. Boy, Jim Levitt shaking his head on that one. That's just inexcusable right there.
Well,
inexcusable.
Well, he's doing a slow burn on the sidelines.
Yep.
Trying to get Keely Dorsey onto the field. Grothy may be done for the night.
Yep.
Julmis is in. He played briefly in the first half. Here's Williams. Williams breaking tackles down to the 11-yard line.
You know
USF in all phases of the game right now, Doug, rolling downhill.
Oh, dominating right now. And I'll tell you, they have found a running back here tonight. This has been the missing ingredient in the offense. And take a look at Williams, 5'7", 190. Boy, I'll tell you what, he has got those legs churning. And of course, Ricky Ponton comes back next week. Williams is saying tonight, I'm not quite ready to give this up yet.
2nd down and 7. Williams stopped at the point of attack and thrown back by a host of defenders, including Dan Davis. Lawrence Green also in there. Doug, from the UConn perspective, defensively tonight, Hank Hughes and Todd Orlando are going to have to go back to the drawing board. I mean, Navy put up over 600 yards of total offense against the Huskies. Now USF's cracking on the door to hang 40 on them tonight here in Tampa.
Yeah, it's been a rough 2 weeks, no question about that.
Julmis inside the 10, down to the 8. And we're not talking about a UConn defense that normally does not perform well. We're talking about a unit that's led the Big East in total defense in each of the last 2 years.
And of course, Randy Edsel, himself a defensive coach all the way through. I mean, this is not fun for him to watch either tonight. I promise you that. But I really do like the move, though, of USF getting Jewel Mist in the game. Grothy is just, I mean, what a night he's had. And golly, he takes so many hits. You just worry about that.
Mike Benzer on for a 26-yard attempt. It's up and it's good. Now 2 of 5 on the season.
That's huge for South Florida because he has struggled all year, and he's hit his extra points and everything good tonight.
Back to Tampa in a moment. Well, you can see the students in the house at Raymond James Stadium tonight enjoying the action. And Bull Mascot having a good time as well. 38-9, USF leads Connecticut. Taylor will take a knee. And so Connecticut will start this drive from their own 20-yard line. And
surprise.
I think USF was offsides again on the kickoff.
Yeah, unbelievable. Now,
in this case, Randy Edsel may make him kick the ball again.
Offsides on South Florida. Number 29, 5-yard penalty, free kick.
Because it's all about touches for Larry Taylor.
And, this is a dangerous situation for USF because now they've just run, 70 yards down the field covering a kick, and you got to come right back and do it again. And I was always a little bit nervous about this one.
Yeah, look at that graphic in terms of the total yards. Butler had a 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown last year for UConn. Lou Allen had a 60-yard run early in the game for a touchdown. USF, they played good defense in that game, but it was UConn that made the big plays, and they had to win 15-10. And we pointed it out earlier here in the second half that loss cost USF a chance to play against West Virginia for the Big East Championship and a bowl in the Sugar Bowl the following week. Yep. And that is something that has been discussed a lot this week.
Oh, I promise it's been discussed. But, you know, talking about that, don't forget on the second play of the game, UConn had about a 60-yard run that was called back with that block in the back.
Oh, that's exactly right. From the goal line. And this is Donald Brown. And Brown is out beyond the 40-yard line. So forget about Taylor. Donald Brown with a terrific kickoff return to the 43.
Yeah, that's a 209-pounder now. That's the running back of the future here for UConn, no question. Take a look at the freshman right here. You know, he had committed to Virginia and then changed his mind late and went up to Connecticut, made a visit and liked it a lot.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why Darius Butler isn't returning kicks this year, there's your reason. Donald Brown. From the 42. Cawley on the carry. And he is just swarmed under.
That's been the biggest difference in the game tonight. The South Florida, I mean, UConn is a running team. That's what they do. South Florida has played the run extremely well. UConn, on my count now, is averaging 3.5 per carry. They've averaged 5.6 coming in.
Back up left defensive end, Traco Bellamy on the stop that time. Loss of 3, second down and 13. 8.5 minutes to play in regulation. It was 14-9 at the half, but USF is in control now. Konyu makes the catch. He's got a first down at the USF 43.
That's one of the few times that you'll see South Florida play a cover 2, and they attacked it beautifully, and he hit that dead area between the corner and the safety, and a nice throw by Bonoslawski. Right there, there's the dead zone right there between the corner and the safety in cover 2.
His brother is a wide receiver at Penn State. Cawley brought down at the 45-yard line, and that's going to be a loss of 2 yards.
That was Aaron Harris, a freshman, 6'3", 240. Wow.
Yeah, but look out there. Moffitt's still in there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the weak side linebacker, Patrick St. Louis, across town, the Tampa Bay Lightning has their home opener tonight, and they're cheering Martin St. Louis.
Yeah, they got a St. Louis or St. Louis.
And they're playing the Bruins tonight. Nearly intercepted. That was Roberts again.
Wow. They're playing almost all nickel defense now because UConn has had 3 wide receivers in the game. And again, this is a sprint out. This is exactly what the nickel should do. Run right to the flat.
Boy, I tell you, he may have scored if he had controlled that football.
Yeah, you know, as a defensive back, when you read the sprint out coming to you and you've got the curl area, forget the curl. Go right to the flat. That's exactly what he did, just the way he's been coached.
Obviously, 4-down territory, 3rd and 11.
Here comes the blitz.
Bonoslawski buried. Stephen Nicholas.
You know, they were trying to block him. I tell you, they didn't just let him go. But he is so quick and so elusive. Take a look at here on the right-hand side of your screen. You're not going to cut him. He's just too good of an athlete for that. That's one of the premier linebackers in the country right there, in my opinion.
Well, it would have been 4-down territory, but with the big loss on the sack, it's now 4th and 22. And Chris Papasaris has come on to punt the ball away. Amari Jackson is set to receive the punt back at the 10. Amari Jackson working his way across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Amari Jackson with a nice punt return for the Bulls. USF 38, UConn 9. 6:15 2:55 to go in our fourth quarter. Glad you could join us tonight for Big East football from Tampa. Homestanding USF at Raymond James Stadium, leading UConn 38-9. Handoff goes to Williams. Matt Grothe is done for the night. Pat Julmis is in at quarterback. Grothe's numbers, as you might expect, impressive. 11 of 15 for 146 yards passing. Rushing, 15 attempts for 82 yards. That won't do anything to hurt his average. He came into play tonight as the 4th leading rusher in the Big East at 68 yards a game. He is the total offense leader in the league. 2nd down and 7.
God, he's 9th in the country in total offense, and that figure will go up again.
Again, it's Williams, who's inching closer to a 100-yard game. He's down to the 39-yard line, and it's 3rd down.
You know, Dave, by my count, just looking at the scores today, now the Big East Conference is now 28-8 in non-conference games. And, you know, a lot of people kind of poo-pooed the Big East Conference a little bit, you know, when it was formed or changed, let's put it that way. But, boy, they have been impressive this year. 3 teams in the top 25. Pretty good.
Yeah, this is the best ever non-conference record for the Big East as a league. 3rd down and 5. Julmis designed to keep it across the 40, and he is down at the 42-yard line. That'll be a yard shy of the marker. And right now the punt unit has not come on for USF as of yet.
Well, that's interesting.
Could Jim Leavitt be thinking about going for this? Now they finally,
there they go.
Well, yeah, here comes the punt unit.
That sets her the snapper. They're going to have to hustle now because they took a lot of time right there.
Tichy is on to punt the football.
Number 27, Justin Tichy, and the punt for the Bulls.
And there's Larry Taylor, set to receive it at the UConn 23.
This is always exciting to be this play.
Snap the ball with 1 second left on the play clock. Taylor, no fair catch, and he is immediately dropped at the 15-yard line. Good tackle by Trey Williams.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much the rugby-style punt with Tichy has helped his football team, because I'll tell you the 2 freshman punters, Alvarado and Petrov, they really were struggling, and of course this has been a huge help. Now, if you look at Randy Etzel, you know, he just got his new facility, moved in August. That kind of kicks their program and recruiting up to a whole different level. And he is so excited about that. And, of course, you know, building a program from the ground up is really not easy, but he's done it.
That was a 42-yard punt. Bonaslawski with the pass. Is that ball caught in bounds?
I think he
yes.
did get a foot in. Yes, he did. That was a great
Connecticut with
throw.
a nice grab.
And that's just a freshman now. Boy, he's another Florida kid that can really run. I'm sorry, he's from Johnstown, Penn. Look at this throw. He drops it right in there, and he definitely got that right foot in bounds.
Yeah, Cunha was a high school tailback and now converted to wide receiver. And he was talking earlier this week about some of the frustration he was feeling. Oh, so Jim Leavitt opting to challenge this call. Well, it was right in front of him.
Right in front of his bench. So he clearly had a good shot at it. Now, I talked to the Big East replay officials before the game. The average replay, let's time it now. I got my clock on it. Has been 1 minute and 42 seconds now. That's pretty positive. I'm going to time this one all the way. Now, we should be able to see it from this view right here. This is the view they're looking at right here. No question.
That looks like a catch.
He got that right foot down in bounds. Jim is going to lose his timeout.
But just to the point of to get your reaction to Cunha, he was making the point that as a true freshman, he was having a little bit of a problem learning the more complicated pass patterns that you have in college football. You know, in high school, he was the big man on campus. He was carrying the football every down, and he was more of a decoy as a receiver. It's a little different when you're a wide receiver in 1A football.
It is clearly a different world, no question about that. You know, not only do you have to learn a lot of different routes, you have to learn how to adjust them against different coverages, and then you have to accept the fact there's a lot of people coming at you who are trying to hurt you and can't hurt you.
There's indisputable video evidence that the receiver caught the ball. The call was called on the field. South Florida is charged with the timeout.
Yep.
Well, what was the elapsed time?
Great job, 1 minute 20 seconds.
We'll take that.
And we'll take it every single time. Nice job by the Big East crew here. And of course, that shows that you kind of want it to be out of bounds, and you're looking right at it, but that was clearly in bounds.
Well, Randy Edsel told us earlier this week that he has challenged one play all season.
Yeah, he thinks the coaches should not be able to challenge.
Yeah. Every play is being reviewed.
Yeah.
So he's not a real fan of the current replay system, at least the coach's challenge portion of it.
Now, I don't know what the hesitation here is. We've got the call. We should be ready to go. And wind it. And there we go. Okay.
Set for play. 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Here's Cawley. Nice outlet by Bones, just dropped it to Colley, and he is out near the 1st down marker. He had to get beyond the USF 47-yard line. He may be just a couple of feet short.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be, if you're a USF fan, you got to be very pleased with the way the Bulls defense has played tonight, considering the way Ray Rice and Rutgers ran the ball a week ago.
The run defense has been phenomenal tonight because, again, that's how Connecticut makes their living.
Bonislavsky with the pass. It's completed.
You know, Dave, just looking ahead a second now, I mean, obviously we're going to project that South Florida's going to win this game tonight. That puts them at 4-2. You know, they go to North Carolina next week, then at Cincinnati, but then they got Pittsburgh and Syracuse at home. You know, and this is a team that's getting better every single week.
Bonislavsky throws the ball away. Yeah, we pointed out at halftime that, you know, this is the time where South Florida needs to get closer to bowl eligibility, because at the end of the regular season, in this first ever 12-game regular season in college football, they have to go on the road at Louisville and at West Virginia back-to-back.
Yeah, I didn't mention those two. Those are the last two. But they're going to be a better football team next week because they get Ricky Ponton back. They get Josh Jewell-Mist, who is by far their best defensive lineman, back. That is really going to help them on both sides of the football tremendously.
Larry Taylor makes the reception, goes out of bounds at the 31-yard line, up near the 1st down.
Now, Connecticut has Army and West Virginia at home, the next two. And then at Rutgers, and then Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Cincinnati, and Louisville. Now, Randy's going to be fighting with every ounce of energy he has, you know, to turn this thing around now this year. They've had 2 tough losses in a row here.
Bonislavsky from the 31 on 1st down. Throws to the wide side. Whoa. And it's nearly picked up. Boy, I don't know. What's gotten into Tyler Roberts? He's got an interception here in the 2nd half and nearly had 2 others.
He's dropped 2. Let's be honest. He's dropped 2.
Number 26, Tyler Roberts.
Of course, there's a reason they play defense, you know. They all would rather be wide receivers, honestly. Having coached defensive backs my whole life. UConn, 22 attempts for 57 yards rushing, 2.6 per carry. That's an amazing job by the South Florida defense. 2nd
down and 10. Bonislavsky again to pass. Good pressure. Pass is caught out of bounds inside the 24-yard line.
That'll be 3rd and about 3.
Steve Browse makes the catch. Browse has been the starting tight end for UConn since the high ankle sprain that Dan Murray suffered in fall camp on August 21st.
Yeah, we thought we might see Murray a little bit tonight.
Yeah, he's a terrific tight end.
Yeah, he can run.
3rd and 3. Cawley breaking tackles inside the 20. He's got the 1st down to the 18.
Number 32, Carlton Williams.
We're at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. College football tonight out of the Big East Conference. The league opener for Connecticut visiting USF. I'm Dave Weekley, happy to be alongside Doug Graber tonight. Rushing yards, that's the big story. USF rushing for 191 yards tonight. Matt Grothe has run for 3 touchdowns. He has thrown for another. Bonoslawski throws the ball away, and there are 2 players down.
Yeah, that was one of those hits you hate to see. He kind of he didn't clip him. It was totally a legal block, but he didn't see it coming. Well, you always as a football player, you'd like to have an opportunity to at least defend yourself. That was Traco Bellamy, the defensive end, and he really got waylaid there on that scramble.
He's trying to get off the field under his own power. Now the trainers have reached him.
Yeah, I would think he'd be real sore tomorrow and have a major thigh bruise based on the hit that I saw.
We know Ray Rice rushed for 200 yards against USF last week. But tonight, they've handled Colley fairly well. They kept him contained.
Oh, they really did. He's averaging less than about 2.4 carry, and he's normally 5'8" coming into this game per carry.
Yep.
But Ray Rice, wow. I mean, what a running back he is, folks. If you have not seen him yet, he is really a special player.
Rice is the leading rusher in the Big East, putting up over 161 yards a game. 2nd down and 10. USF has kept UConn off the scoreboard since halftime. Bonoslawski from the gun, quick shot out to Taylor, makes the diving, no, ruled incomplete at the 12. Thought Taylor might have gotten his hands under that ball, ruled incomplete. It's 3rd down and 10.
That's going to set up 3rd down now. Yeah, and the biggest thing for the South Florida defense in the 2nd half has been the offense, because they had those 2 long drives to start the 2nd half, and your defense is over there rusting, and that has really helped them. Got that true freshman Harris in now, number 98.
This is the 10th play of the drive for UConn. 3rd and 10. Bonoslawski steps up, fires, pass, tip, and caught. What a grab. Jeffers, the freshman, makes a juggling catch inside the 5. It's 1st and goal.
Young man out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Take a look at it right here. He kind of tipped it back to himself. Right there. Yes, sir.
That's a great play.
Good concentration.
1st and goal at the 5. Donald Brown near the 1-yard line.
Of course, in talking to Randy Edsel this week, he talked about his program, Dave, that it's in transition. Now they have all their facilities in place now. This will be the 1st year. Oh, they caught him.
Tried to go for a quick snap before the USF defense was ready. Flags are down.
And they caught him too. Heads up by the senior quarterback. I think caught him with 12 on the field.
Legal substitution on the defense, number 90. He was coming onto the field as the ball was snapped. Half the distance to the goal, remains 2nd down.
It's defensive line coach Clark trying to get some fresh troops in the game, and they just they quick snapped him and caught him.
So now it's 2nd and goal, the nose of the football inside the 1-yard line of USF. 1 back set. Stopped short of the goal line is Lou Allen. Sam Miller was over there.
Good
Julian Riley.
Good penetration by the D-line.
Carlton Williams with the start tonight, the free safety spot. And Williams shifting over to free safety allowed Tyler Roberts to make his 1st career start tonight at the nickel. And the Bulls will burn a timeout. One referee announced that the timeout belonged to USF. The other signaled it belonged to UConn, but I believe this is a timeout for the Bulls. The Bulls have one timeout left. UConn has all three.
You know, I can't tell you what the Big East Conference has done for both of these programs. I mean, it's really given them an opportunity to just totally change, you know, the way people look at their program, certainly change their recruiting, certainly change the financial aspects for both universities.
The exposure
is tremendous. Both of these programs in the next 5 to 10 years are really going to have a chance to elevate themselves, you know, to really be teams that can compete and go to a BCS bowl game.
Guaranteed bowl slots really worked in the favor of the Bulls last year after they had that late season loss to UConn, didn't get a chance to play for the league championship. They still had an opportunity to play North Carolina State, the Meineke Car Bowl in Charlotte. First ever bowl game for this program. And, you know, sometimes it's easy to forget that this is just the 10th year of football here at USF.
You know, when I was the head coach at Rutgers, we qualified for bowls 2 years in a row. Weren't fully in the Big East yet. Didn't get bowl bids. It was devastating. It really was.
3rd and goal. Power I. Allen into the end zone. Tumbles into the end zone here in Tampa for the touchdown. First touchdown of the second half for UConn.
Boy, Deion Anderson, the fullback, man, did he lead the way. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with him. Take a look at it right here. Watch the fullback right there. There's the key block. Number 30, Deion Anderson. Here it is again. Wow, what a great block by Anderson.
Greg Vic Domino stays in the game. He replaced Matt Nuzzi late in the first half and kicked a field goal, shoots through the extra point, and it makes the score 38-16.
UConn 16.
Well, I know that.
Hey, how about Allen? Now Allen has scored a touchdown in consecutive games against USF. Had a 60-yard touchdown against the Bulls last year and has a 1-yard touchdown run. Yeah, let's check out that USF schedule. Doug, you referenced it a couple of moments ago. There's some tough games still ahead, obviously, for the Bulls at the end of the season, but here's what's coming up.
Well,
next week it's at Chapel Hill.
Definitely got a strong chance to win that game at Cincinnati. Definitely can win that game. Pittsburgh at home, Syracuse at home, and then of course, you know, 4-2 heading into this stretch. Of course, at Louisville, at West Virginia. That's a little bit of a that's a little bit of a rough stretch right there.
Yeah, that is definitely tough stuff.
But this is a South Florida team. I really do believe this, that will continue to improve at leaps and bounds. They're so young that this team should really improve dramatically as the season goes on, and especially when they get some of their suspended players back.
You know, if you really think about it, and this is a scary possibility, here comes the onside kick by UConn. It'll come to the bottom of the screen. We anticipate it does. High bounce, that's what you want. But the ball is fielded by Amari Jackson from the hands team. He's got it at the UConn 43. Think about this, Doug. If Ian Randolph catches that touchdown pass at Kansas, hit him right in the hands.
Oh, yeah.
And then if Amp Hill catches that 2-point conversion pass in the final half minute against Rutgers,
they're in overtime.
We could be looking at a USF team that will be 6-0.
Number 30, blocking before eligible, touch the ball. Penalties declined, first down.
There's a lot of ifs.
Yep. But they really should have had at least a chance to win overtime last week against Rutgers. That was a great football game here. Great win for Rutgers.
Grant Gregory now is on. He's the third quarterback we've seen tonight for USF. Son of Greg Gregory. Minute to go in the game. Williams breaking tackles. That'll put him over 100 yards. Williams takes it down to the 29-yard line. That's a 14-yard gain.
Yeah, and if you're Randy Edsel, that is something you really, really don't need to see right now. And because, you know, want to look at it. I'm going to grade those tapes, and he's going to grade them, and he's going to watch every single player out there on this last drive in terms of what kind of effort they're giving and everything else.
So Williams comes off the field, and Keely Dorsey comes in. Probably a pretty good chance he's going to get a chance to carry the football. And the fake it to Dorsey. Here's Gregory on the keeper. Hey, that's not the way it works for Grothy.
Yeah, right. It's a little different. I tell
Loss
you,
of a yard.
Nice young man. His dad is a heck of a coach. He was on that staff with Bob Sutton all those years at Army, and here, that's it. Jim Levitt and Randy Edsel meeting at midfield.
Well, Gregory gets to carry the ball and get into the game, but this night belonged to Matt Grothy. 4 touchdowns. He threw for 1. He rushed for 4 more. Jim Levitt and USF, they snap their 2-game losing streak, get back on the winning track. They up their record to 4-2, 1-1 in the Big East. For Randy Edsel, UConn now is 2-3, and they are 0-1 in Big East Conference play. 38-16, that's your final. USF defeats UConn here in Tampa tonight.
That's a terrific win for South Florida, no question about that. I really thought that this game would go right down to the wire. We're going to be talking to Coach Levitt here soon if we can get him over.
Well, you know, Connecticut was in this game at the end of the first half. They trailed 14-0. Then they scored 9 unanswered points. But in the second half, it was a domination by USF. 38-16, that is your final. We hope to get a couple of comments from the coach of the Bulls in just a second.
You know, that was it. Remember now, UConn had all the momentum going into the half. And, of course, that opening drive by South Florida offensively in the third quarter, that was really the key. And that just, whatever momentum UConn had, that disappeared immediately right there.
Well, we understand that some of our affiliates may be breaking away. And if you're leaving us, thanks for watching. USF gets the victory. For others, you'll be staying with us for a little while. We'll wrap up this game, talk to some of the players for USF, run down the stats, and have highlights of tonight's victory. Amari Jackson. Now, this is something that the fans like. They love it when Amari Jackson goes over to the student section and gives high fives.
Yeah, and the students have really come up big now for South Florida. And I think being in the Big East is a big part of that, too, because first few years here, the students were a little bit apathetic. But, boy, they've come out big now in the last couple of years.
All right, Jim Levitt, the head coach of USF, has joined us now. Congratulations, Jim. What are your thoughts on this win?
Well, it's a big win for us. You know, I was happy with it. The second half, our offense went down and scored, and especially the second time, because I think we got the ball at the 8 and drove it all the way down, and I was really proud of the way our offense played. I wish it would, you know, I kind of was hoping we could just keep them out at the end there, but, you know, we had a lot of young guys in.
Jim, this is Doug Graber.
Hey, Doug.
Your run defense, I thought, was really the biggest difference in the game tonight. You held them to about to under 3 yards a carry, and that was a team that runs the ball pretty well.
Yeah, you know, Wally did a real good job. We moved our front quite a bit. We were going to move all night long because, you know, we're so young in there. And, you know, a lot, you know, we knew we had to do it with a team effort because we're just, you know, not having Kleebert and some other guys, you know, we're pretty thin in there.
Yep.
Jim, what about Matt Grothy tonight? He went out of the game with an ankle sprain for a while, but came back in the second half and just played wonderfully.
Yeah, he did a great job. You know, I thought his leg was broken. That's what they told me originally. And
wow.
I told Rod when Pat went in to, you know, run our offense, because I thought it might be a while till we get Matt back, and then they told me in the second half that he was coming back out, and I thought, well, that's not bad. That's great medical staff.
But not only did he come back, but he ran the ball, Rob.
Yeah.
He's a tough kid, huh?
Yeah, he's something else. He really is. Really proud of him.
Coach, what about Ian Randolph? Played in the first half.
Yeah.
We didn't see him in the second half.
Yeah, I kind of, nothing serious. A little hip pointer there. He'll be fine.
You know, now you get some troops back. You've had some players that have had to sit out some games.
Right.
And now they come back in time to help you in Chapel Hill next week.
Well, we hope so. You know, they haven't played for 6 weeks, so, you know, they're going to be kind of rusty, obviously.
And Williams tonight really broke out at the tailback spot.
Really proud of Ben. I really am. I guess I better put him on scholarship, huh?
It might be a consideration.
Yeah, I think I probably should. Yeah, he did a great job. All right, we good?
Thank you, Jim.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, Coach.
Thank you.
Jim Levitt, the head football coach at USF. They are now 4-2 on the season following this 38-16 win over Connecticut. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We've got more from Raymond James Stadium, wrapping up Big East football on a Saturday night in Tampa. 38-16. That's the final from Tampa tonight. USF defeats UConn 38-16. So the Bulls' 2-game losing streak is over. But for UConn, now they have lost 2 in a row. They'll try to regroup at home against Army. And then West Virginia comes calling to town. They'll come into Rentschler Field, and that should be a very entertaining game as well. Doug, the second half was dominated by UCF. And obviously they put together a couple of long drives offensively that just took the Huskies out of the game.
That was the whole difference. I mean, UConn clearly had momentum going into the half. And, of course, USF received the kickoff in the second half. And what a great drive led by that young guy, Mr. Grothe, right there. And that really took the starch out of UConn. And then the next possession, another long drive and a touchdown, and that was it.
You know, just to get back to Grothe for a moment, when he went down in the first half, the way he reacted, I think everybody in this stadium thought it was a serious injury. It turned out to be an ankle sprain, a minor ankle sprain, because he came back in the second half and just played wonderfully. 3 rushing touchdowns, threw for a touchdown. We're seeing the emergence of maybe one of the future stars in the Big East, if not all of college football.
Well, I mean, he's already a star in the Big East. Now he goes down to the next level. He was 9th in the country in total offense coming into the game, had another big night. His numbers are going to move up there. And frankly, right now for USF, Williams played well at running back tonight. His emergence is certainly going to help them, but he's the whole show offensively. Let's face it, Grothe is the whole show for them, and he has shouldered that load very well. Now that ankle, he'll be very, very sore this week. I promise you that. You know, that thing is going to swell up on him, especially playing on it like he did, but what a tough kid.
Hey, before we get out of here, let's revisit your keys and see how smart you truly are.
Well, the first one here was limit the big plays, and honestly, UConn did a pretty good job of that, except late in the game. Pound the rock, Connecticut was not able to do that at all. That was the big difference. They only averaged about 3.2 per carry for the night. South Florida did a great job there. USF certainly did stop the running game, and they did it a variety of ways with 8-man fronts, a lot of different ways. Grothe on the ground, again, he made a couple plays. This one in particular that was awesome. The one where he spun out of there when it was covered and they had about a 16-yard touchdown run. Take a look at the stats here, Dave.
All right, and Grothe rushed for 82 yards.
Yep.
He came into play tonight averaging 68 rushing yards a game. That's good for 4th best in the Big East Conference. And look at the defense. USF held the Huskies to just 261 total yards, and they held the Huskies, who came into play tonight as the 6th best rushing team in college football, to only 60 yards.
Yeah, amazing. Came in averaging 242 yards a game, only got 60, and I thought that, in my mind, that was the key to the South Florida victory tonight.
Well, what about that stat at the bottom of the column for USF? 15 penalties for 118 yards.
You know what? And we talked about this before. I've got to change my stance on that. You know, penalties, a lot of those penalties are because of effort. You know, stupid penalties are stupid penalties. But you know what? South Florida's always had a lot of penalties. They've won a lot of games.
Well, they're going to have to tighten that up, obviously, as they hit the road, head to Chapel Hill, and take on North Carolina, the Tar Heels, next week. All right, I think that's going to do it from here at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. For my partner, Doug Graber, this is Dave Weekley saying so long on what was a beautiful night here at Raymond James Stadium. Lots of defense. Jim Levitt, always emotional. An emotional win following 2 straight losses for USF. USF defeats Connecticut 38-16. This has been a presentation of ESPN Regional Television, the leader in collegiate sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.